Hello, everyone, and welcome to Living by the Law, the podcast discussing fictional worlds and how wondrous and ridiculous they are. My name is Matt, and I'm joined by my co-hosts, Jude and Guy.
Living by the Law is not currently sponsored. If you'd wish to sponsor us, go to an all-you-can-eat buffet and just go ham. Enjoy yourself and eat as much food as you can. When you're full, lean back and fall into a deep sleep. Dream of your sponsorship offer as you drift away into the realm of sleep. We will hear you. We always do.
The streets of Tokyo are a hunting ground. The victim, you. The hunters, well, we'll find out in this episode as we dive into Tokyo Ghoul, a story that could only end in tragedy. This episode contains spoilers for Tokyo Ghoul, both the anime and the manga series.
Have you boys been appraised of the new D&D releases?
Yes!
Yeah.
I have a big one for you that I'm not sure if you're aware of yet. The Paladin changes. There is one in specific that I'm extremely excited about.
What's one specific?
At level 5, all Paladins now get Fine Steed.
Oh, wow.
Every Paladin has a horse.
And they can cast it once per day for free.
Correct. It is not a
silly.
spell because it is. They decided it was so iconic to the Paladin class to have a sick fucking horse that it needed to be a class feature.
Yeah, cool.
So they just get that now.
Yeah, cool.
Well, and they really talked about specifically about it's not a horse. It's an otherworldly creature that you ride.
It's a stat block.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying a lot of the new stuff though.
I've actually, I'm interested because they've just basically, every time they basically gone like, well, this was unfun, we made it better. I'm interested to see how the balance will turn out, especially because we haven't heard any of the big casters yet. Because a lot of like the melee and half casts have got big upgrades. Barbarian sounds really cool.
Barbarian sounds extremely fun, yeah. The extended rages. The other thing that I thought was also extremely funny is looking online, seeing people being like, oh, fighter has Indomitable where they can get a plus D10 to a roll and plus their class, meaning at like higher levels, they're getting like plus 15 plus whatever stat to it.
To one roll.
And it's like, hey guys, give the fighters something, okay?
Yeah, exactly.
They've been shafted for a while now.
Imagine the fighter who the only thing is getting close and killing, just getting one spell and going, oh no, you can't do shit, and then the whole round is just, oh, I can't do anything for the whole thing? Okay, I'll just sit here. Yeah. You guys do it.
Yeah.
I'm appreciating the fun-oriented design philosophy that they seem to be going with.
I really like the way they've revamped feats as well into like mid-level feats, beginner feats, and epic feats.
And also that
the
they've
backgrounds giving you a feat, I really like.
Yeah, but also that they've included feats as part of like the core design.
Yeah, I do.
Love that.
Yeah.
A+.
And I really like the way that they have attached stat increase to backgrounds.
Yes,
I really like it.
I think going with species is interesting. I saw another thing that said lineage.
Yeah,
lineage was a good word because they are races. They can, I mean, remember they can inter.
Yeah, well,
breed.
some of them can, some of them can't. But yeah,
I like lineage. Lineage sounds good because that's like your history and where your backstory, right? I mean, there was so I feel like that's more
I
where
agree.
you're coming from.
Yeah. I mean, it was called custom lineage in 5e. So
Yeah, I was going to say, I also have seen complaints about removing custom background. Honestly, I saw a comment that perfectly summarized my thoughts, which is way too often custom background was no background.
Yeah.
They just would use it to get stats and feats and stuff. And some people admittedly would run it correctly. But if that's the case, just keep doing that. Yeah.
it's
not that hard.
It's D&D. It is the least official rule set ever. It is there as a blanket guide.
What do you mean? Everything? It's law.
Yeah.
Yeah, anything that's not covered by the DM's guide
we
and the
live
player's
by the
handbook
law
is
here.
illegal.
We live by the law here. What?
So, my episode had nothing to do with D&D.
Not doing a hard pivot?
Damn, that was a hard pivot.
Well, you both stopped talking, so I'll just start.
Fair enough.
Damn, man, we just ran
this
into a
is
brick wall
clunky.
and then the car started again.
You guys ran into a brick wall, and then I poked my head up from the other side of the brick wall and gone, well, hello, children.
And I'm throwing a
started
snowball
taking
at
the
you.
bricks away.
We can go back into the brick wall if you want.
Okay.
I like the brick wall. It's comfortable.
The barbarian world tree of barbarians and really sick.
Yeah. You know what else is really sick about barbarians?
Oh yeah,
Blood.
Yes.
they do have it. Most of them.
Betrayal, gore, and deception. This is a story that can only end in tragedy.
Hello?
Today we are
It's more like
diving
rogues.
into anime.
Oh! Psychic Blast.
Psychic Blast. Yeah. No,
Anime
no
Edge,
Holocaust
it's time.
memes.
It's time for it. We deserve
Have
it.
we
It's time.
done any animes?
Yes.
Pokemon, technically.
Okay, I would.
Of course.
Loose,
Yeah.
but sure.
Of
Yeah.
course. Hey, we've done 2 episodes on Pokemon. That is
Yeah.
an anime, and I will not stand for any discrimination.
Yeah. But, so, the anime that we're going to be focusing on today is Tokyo Ghoul.
Ooh, heard
Yeah.
of it?
Yeah.
Been
So I was,
Tokyo.
Yeah, you're the only one who has a bit of Tokyo. Kind
Cool.
of cringe pilled.
I actually have no driving force or desire to go to Tokyo, I've got to be honest.
I mean,
Sounds-
the yen's kind of weak right now. It's pretty cheap.
Sounds a bit like a ghoul.
Sounds a bit like a ghoul.
Yeah. Yeah.
Tokyo Ghoul pill me, dude.
How much do you know about Tokyo Ghoul?
0.
I literally know nothing other than maybe some scenes where people jump over. I don't know any animes, the difference between them.
That's okay.
It's
Cool.
set in
That's
Tokyo
fine.
and there's a ghoul.
You're not wrong.
I know people who I think they cut them with swords, but that's every anime, right?
That's
Every-
yeah. I was gonna say I don't think there's an anime where that doesn't happen.
Exactly. So
Even Slice of Life is.
Yeah.
is this the one where he has like a sister that's a demon, or is that something else?
Nah, that's Demon Slayer. I think.
I mean, that
I
makes
haven't
sense.
seen
That
it,
makes a
but
lot
that
of
sounds
sense.
like I've seen one episode of Demon Slayer and didn't get into
I
it.
don't fucking know.
Background here before I get into it properly. I feel like other than actually maybe Matt, I was gonna say out of the 3 of us, I've probably seen the least anime in my life. I've watched 3 series complete, not kind of nearly complete, not quite fully, and that's about it.
The only animes I've seen in my life are like Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh and
Okay,
Digimon.
Matt's
Okay.
probably
I did the high school thing of watching Sword Art Online as I inflicted upon you via our friends who also watched it.
Yep.
So we're not entirely blamed for that. But since then, I've watched a bunch of stuff: Saki K, Mob Psycho, My Hero Academia, like plenty of the basic stuff.
yeah. That's fair.
I will
That's
be
fair.
honest.
Although I am also trying to currently fight my way through One Piece, but oh my god,
One Piece.
One Piece.
So One Piece is a version of One Piece that cuts out all the.
It's basically if you want to watch One Piece but don't want to watch 1,000 episodes.
I see. Okay.
It's like they cut out entire arcs, but it's only cutting out arcs where the team comes in, beats up a big bad, and then leaves basically the exact same as they went in.
Fair
Cuts
enough.
the filler.
So it's basically like if you want to watch One Piece but don't want to commit to the entire thing.
Yeah, that's fair. I respect that.
The closest thing I've done to anime is like Castlevania
Yeah.
or Avatar: Last Airbender
Hey,
Yeah.
fucking
or a couple of episodes of the Netflix One Piece show.
Yeah, fair.
Oh,
fair.
that's like.
I guess that's the closest I've come to
No,
anime.
no,
Yeah,
totally fair,
yeah,
totally
that's
fair.
fair.
What's the cyberpunky one?
You
It was
mean
on Netflix
Cyberpunk?
recently.
Cyberpunk
Literally called
was-
Cyberpunk.
It was literally called Cyberpunk 20 something, wasn't it?
2077.
There you
Yeah,
go.
Yeah.
I watched a bit of that.
Oh, that's cool. Good. Yeah. So Tokyo Ghoul is honestly, to put it in, I think Izzy used these words. It's a very not anime.
Okay.
It doesn't have a lot of the. It came out, especially the anime. Cannot speak for the manga. The anime came out at very similar sort of time to when like Attack on Titan was being a big thing, and Attack on Titan's kind of the same vibe of added gore, added action sequences, and more of a focus on dramatic storytelling and less of a focus on, not focus, but like a lot of other anime that you may watch, you will get like the animeisms, I guess.
Yeah, for sure.
Like
No.
one of the other ones that I've watched is Akame ga Kill, which is an interesting anime, but you get like in that one you get a lot of similar things that you'll find in, like Pokemon as well, where like you'll get the random off-cut zoom-ins where the character's face turns gigantic and tears come out. Like really over-the-top caricature animation stuff. Does that make sense?
What? No. What? Oh.
Yeah, a lot of that sort of stuff.
And then you get the cut, and it's like a freeze frame, and they like slide over their face.
Yeah, a lot of that sort of stuff. You get a lot of that in other ones. Tokyo Ghoul is it's a very not anime, I think. Like, the most anime it gets is big dramatic sword fights and betrayal-y stuff, but it doesn't have a lot of those other things. Anyway, so
have
it's
a lot of
very entry level, and I think that's why it was like one of the 3 that I watched when I was younger,
Nice.
and then still come back to this day, to rewatch from time to time.
Does it have long monologues where instead of fighting, they just talk for an entire episode to each other and then fight
Not
the next episode?
really, no.
Yeah.
There is a lot where they fight while they talk, but there's not a lot of like massive monologues.
I love talk while you fight
Yeah.
fights.
Oh, it's good. So to dive into it a bit more specifically, I just wanted to give that bit of grounding so that when I inevitably fuck up in this episode, you understand that I'm not a big anime person. This is just one series that I've watched and like. So don't at me when I get things wrong.
This is probably the one area we will probably most likely get things wrong, and
Yep.
will have people who attack us for it.
100%. That's okay, baby. So,
We
Tokyo
love
Ghoul is a major manga series and eventually anime written and illustrated by Sui Ishida. It is written and released in two major installments, Tokyo Ghoul and its sequel, Tokyo Ghoul RE. Between the two parts, it was written from 2011 to 2018. The plot is really quite simple.
How many seasons, sorry? Between 2011 and 2018?
I'll get to that.
Okay.
I'm just saying the manga itself was written.
Oh, the
in those
manga.
times.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's okay.
Sorry.
So I guess if anyone's completely never seen any kind of anime or anything, manga's like the comics that anime is based on, and then anime is it turned into animation. Easy, simple version, I guess.
Usually like the books to adaptation.
The book to adaptation, yeah. So the plot is really quite simple. Ghouls live among us, the same as normal people in every way, except their craving for human flesh. Yep, guy's gonna bite you.
I'm going to bite you.
He
So-
nearly did.
The story follows Ken Kaneki, a college student who barely survives a deadly encounter with Rize Kamishiro, his date who reveals herself as a ghoul. He is taken to the hospital in a critical condition, and after recovering, Kaneki discovers that he underwent a very rare surgery that took some of the organs of his dead date due to the accident that hit them both. And it has accidentally turned him into the first half ghoul, half human hybrid.
Ooh.
As they found when they took them both to the hospital, that her organs matched his, and he was maybe going to survive and she wasn't. So they put some of her organs inside him, and it turned him into this hybrid.
Interesting.
Are the ghouls friendly? Like when he said going on a date, was it like kind of good?
We'll get to that.
Okay.
Well, the emphasis is on he went on a date and then she revealed herself as a ghoul. And now, like normal ghouls, he must consume human flesh to survive. The ghouls who manage a coffee shop called Onteku take him in and teach him how to deal with his new life as a half ghoul. Some of his daily struggles include fitting into the ghoul society, as well as having to keep his identity hidden from his human companions. Trapped between two worlds, Kaneki must survive ghoul turf wars, learn more about ghoul society, and master his new powers. So that's the first installment of Tokyo Ghoul, the first manga, which then becomes the first 2 seasons of the show. And then for RE, we jump forward between 2 and 3 years. It depends which source you ask. Some think longer, but 3 years seems to be the general consensus online. In Tokyo, an unchanging despair is lurking. Mysterious man-eating beings, ghouls, run rampant in Tokyo now. Living hidden during everyday life, the existence of ghouls, whose true identities are shrouded in mystery, permanently terrorizes Tokyo's citizens. At the CCG, the sole institution that investigates and resolves cases related to ghouls, Heisei Sasaki has been assigned a certain mission. While dealing with the 4 unruly problem children known as Quinks, Heisei's days of suffering begin. I won't spoil the whole thing of Ri and the event from the first half, but the end of the first half, it basically comes to Kaneki being taken by this CCC group, who then brainwash and wipe his mind, turning him into the ghoul-killing agent Heisei Sasaki. Through RE, we see Kaneki/Sasaki go through split lives as his memories are trying to reconnect with friends from his previous life, the first installment, while still trying not to lose the new friends he's made as this new personality. And that's the second installment of the manga and the second 2 seasons. So there's 4 seasons total, but the 4th season's kind of strange. So for the anime, produced by Studio Pierrot, who are the same ones that make like Naruto and shit, so like pretty big studio. They do first season, which is really accurate, if a bit sped up pacing wise. Like maybe you get 2 episodes playing out an arc from the comics that was a longer run, but for the grand scheme, it's pretty faithful to the manga. Then you hit season 2, which is titled Tokyo Ghoul Route A, rather than calling it Tokyo Ghoul Season 2, because I don't fucking know, man. And that began airing in January 2015. Unlike the first season, the second season literally advertised itself as an alternate story of the second, an alternate story of the comics spun by the creator. So first season, totally faithful, and then the second season just completely divulged for some reason. It got really rocky there. The second season threw all the fans, and I believe, though I now struggle to find proof of it, they pretty much were going to have it ended after season 2, because the way they changed the end of season 2, it feels like a final episode of a series, and they tie everything up. But then, after the fans hated that, they came back with the third season, which titled itself Tokyo Ghoul RE, and that came back in 2018, so it was like 3 years in between. And then it gets a bit weird because it kind of tries to ignore the end of season 2 with Route A, and almost pretends that season 2 was faithful to the manga all along, and then just kind of starts as if season 2 ended a certain way. It is strange, but overall season 3 is pretty universally liked by all the fans. It was then followed by the fourth and final season, also in 2018, which concludes the series as a whole. Once again, season 4 is quite good, but it becomes very rushed. My understanding is they were in a finish it with one season 4, or it never gets finished sort of situation. And with that in mind, season 4 is a good ending, much better than not having it ended. Everything ends the way it should, and we get a lot of satisfying endings, but there's also entire story arcs that get condensed into like a single 20-minute episode. It's kind of wild, but they just about managed to pull it off. A lot of things like getting cut from the manga, all that sort of thing, but it's left with a reasonably good, satisfying story.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I appreciate a rushed but finished product more than I appreciate a
Terminally
good,
cancelled.
really good but never finished product.
100%.
BBC Utopia comes to mind.
Yeah.
Incredible first two seasons, just didn't like, and was just like, we're ready to go for the final, and then cancelled. It's like,
yeah, that's
come
true.
on, man.
Yeah, 100%. And yeah, that's the thing. So you've got the first 2 seasons are like 12, 14 episodes each, and then third season's also about the same, about 14 episodes. And then the fourth season has like 24 episodes. So it's almost 2 seasons released as one.
Oh, wow.
But it's also like nowhere. Realistically, the pacing that they set with the first season should have been an 8-season show. And instead you kind of get 4.5. So that's how much they kind of condense down.
I miss TV shows having like 24 episodes.
Yeah, same. 24 episode seasons with 20-minute episodes. There's something good about it.
I mean, but also
Even like 30, 40-minute episodes in those.
Yeah. Well,
yeah, I mean, even that, yeah, like I've been watching Dimension 20, such a random pull, but like the juice that they have in their seasons, because it's an edited show at the end of the day, and it's like 24 episodes by like 2 or 3 hours each, and they're all tight, and it's like delicious.
Even but I feel like lately they're very much doing like long movies where they do like an hour-long show, which is awkward to watch sometimes, and then they have like 8 episodes in the season.
Yeah.
So many TV shows, like especially Disney Plus, does it a lot.
Disney's
and I was like,
really bad at it. Yeah.
just cut it up, cut it in half, make sure those episodes work, and just make it double the length.
Yeah.
And they used to be able to do it. What happened? It just
I think because Disney's having so many things come out that should have been movies, but they're like, let's make a Disney Plus show. Anyway, I digress.
yeah.
Gotta fill that catalog.
Yeah.
And then when the movies should have been Disney Plus
so-
shows.
As of this year, 10 years since the anime originally started airing, there is actually talk about the anime getting a redo because it's still continuing to be such a popular manga and anime even to this day. And season 1 Tokyo Ghoul was insanely popular, like really wildly successful. And season 2, while a bit controversial for the manga fans, it was still very popular. So who knows? Maybe we'll get to see a properly done 8-season, fully realized, accurate Tokyo Ghoul in the future. It'd be interesting. So there's also a couple of live action movies. I'm not going to talk about them, just acknowledge that they exist to move on. I think they are just another adaptation. The first one was successful enough to make a second one, and then no one talks about it. So I don't know. If you like them, cool. I haven't seen them. I'm probably not going to watch them, so we'll move on.
Nice.
Because we got enough other shit to talk about. So we're going to dive into today talking about a bit of the world. What the fuck is a ghoul? What are their powers? What are they like? What do they deal with? And then we're going to talk a bit about the CCG, the group that I mentioned in my description before.
Yahoo!
Can I say it?
Yes.
Are we going to talk about the main character and that being half ghoul and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I'll talk about it then.
Okay, cool.
Bring it up then.
Awesome.
Let's go into it.
So, to start with, the world of Tokyo Ghoul, and the thing that I personally, why I enjoy it so much, and one of the big things about it that doesn't necessarily. I feel like it sets it apart from other big entry level anime, because it is at the end of the day a pretty entry level anime. In the grand scheme, I mean, I've watched it, so it must be entry level. But compared to like a lot of your other entry level sort of shows, it is an incredibly morally complex world. So we are first introduced to the world in a very black and white way. Ghouls are evil, humans the victims. Then we begin to empathize with the ghouls and see them as the victims of society's scrutiny and hunting. Then it opens up into a much more complex tale of good and bad people, either side, contributing to this whole messed up world.
What? No way.
Yeah. So that brings us to the first quote, which pretty much sums up Kaneki as a character and the direction of the show. I think, Guy, you can do this first one. And yeah, you can do this first one. Give us a slightly edgy college student who has never touched grass.
I'm going to do a little bit of a laugh one. We need to stop fighting and start talking. Because when it comes to the state of the world, you can't just point your fingers at ghouls or humans. We're all to blame.
It does sound like such a dub. It was very good. It was very good.
Yeah.
I haven't watched much anime, but that sounds perfect.
It is exactly what you expect.
I've
yeah.
watched a lot of anime.
So this sets the tone for the rest of the show as we delve further into the conflict between ghouls and humans and the powers that control them from behind the scenes. It is an interesting ride, and it positions itself to be very engaging and gut-wrenching as a series, as conflict will almost always be between two characters that we both see as good characters and characters we like. Neither of them we want to die. While this isn't exclusive to the series, I think it does it a lot better than other places I've read or watched this sort of trope, engaging you so well with people who are going to fight the ghouls and then letting you really get into their lives, while also making you fall in love with the ghouls, and then they fight, and then you cry.
Nice.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
A thing as well, which, honestly, when I watched this show, I watched the show when I was a lot younger, and then watched it like once in lockdown, in the middle of like brain rot nocturnal living.
We all did weird shit during that time.
And then I rewatched it a couple of weeks ago when I was researching for this episode, because it made me want to watch it again. And thing that I never really thought about, but really stood out to me this time, there is for the level of show that it is, there is a surprising amount of like gender identity and queer themes in the show. So at the heart of it, there are some really blatantly obvious ongoing themes of identity throughout the series that I think are worth highlighting. We have a number of characters, namely Toru Mutsuki, who is, we see them struggling with their identity as someone gender fluid throughout the whole series. And there is very clear use of hiding being a ghoul or coming out as a ghoul, even to the point that ghouls are famed for wearing masks when they are out hunting or fighting as a ghoul so as to hide their true identity. So quite literally, I want to go outside and show my true self, but need to hide behind a mask to do it. And in the way that ghouls interact with humans, we see it as them trying to put their trust in people and humans and almost coming out as a ghoul, revealing their true nature to friends.
We love a good analogy.
Yeah. So, on with the ghouls.
I'm glad gay people don't eat human flesh, though.
Yeah, I think it would struggle to be as supportive of Pride if gay people had to eat other people.
Oh, 100%. No, obviously not.
They should, though. Slay.
Yeah.
Literally.
So, on to ghouls. So,
Gays.
yes, gays. Tokyo Gays.
Tokyo Gays.
Absolutely.
So,
It's the spin-off of fucking Queer Eye.
yeah. Fuck yeah. So, in short, ghouls are a carnivorous and sometimes cannibalistic humanoid species that are only able to feed on the flesh of humans or other ghouls. They normally share and display the same attributes as humans, being similar in physical appearance and intelligence as a human, with the main exceptions being their inner biology, mentality, and diet. Their inner biology means a couple of things.
Yeah.
Their eyes turn red at times when they lose control.
Because of all the blood, because
Yeah.
it's the bad people thing.
Same. That's also happens to me.
Yeah.
They have increased strength and speed, slightly more of a bestial sense, and their skin is incredibly tough to penetrate, with the exceptions of places like the eye membrane and similar places.
Yikes.
Sounds like
Yep.
a ghoul.
Only way that you can inject something into a ghoul is by injecting it through their eye membrane. That definitely doesn't come up in the show or anything. Yeah, it's pretty far.
Yikes.
Yep.
You only got a couple of holes.
And that's an
Know
easy
what I
one to get to.
Matt's looking at me as if he's just shared some ancient wisdom, steepling his fingers at me.
So you've heard of the catheter. Now get ready.
No!
You'd
Honestly, they sound like vampires.
Well, we'll get to that. A ghoul can only feed on humans or other ghouls, as they are unable to digest any other type of food due to a particular enzyme their body produces. They just cannot digest it.
Fucking L.
Yeah, I know, right?
It's very convenient.
The structure of their tongues is also slightly different from humans, making other foods taste disgusting. If a ghoul attempts to eat normal food, they will be struck by a powerful urge to vomit. When forced or forcing themselves to digest other food, their physical condition will deteriorate, they can become sickly, and even starting to lose some of their innate strengths and abilities. While ghouls cannot eat normal food, they are, however, able to drink coffee and eat the beans.
Fuck yeah, dude.
As well as drinking regular water. This leads to the ghoul community that the series focuses on being based around the little coffee shop I mentioned.
Oh, that's so fucking funny.
And the
okay,
coffee
that's
shop
good.
Do
does
they get like the buzz of coffee?
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
that's cute.
And the coffee shop does its best to be a Switzerland sort of neutral, peaceful zone where there are ghouls in that particular ward of Tokyo that try their best to keep everything under wraps, keep the ghouls. They don't want to get too noisy, you know? If ghouls start recklessly hunting, they're going to attract the authorities. So they do their best to keep everyone under control, and they all operate out of this coffee shop.
Mm-hmm.
Does that, because that's like coffee, that's probably the caffeine in the coffee that's like the good thing. Does that mean other drugs can also affect ghouls?
We don't see them apart from one, which I'll get to.
Okay.
But there's a thing that you can do to ghouls, which in theory might mean other drugs can affect them.
Interesting.
We don't see that. It's because it's not about the actual body chemistry stopping food. It's the digestion. So if you injected something into them somehow, they would probably still suffer the effects, or they could probably smoke up, I guess. In theory. I've never thought about that before, but yeah, they could.
I'm going to inject alcohol straight to their veins.
I mean, yeah.
Give a little buzz.
Yeah. I mean, even then, they would still feel the effects of alcohol if they drank it.
Yeah, they still
It
feel
would just taste disgusting, and they'd want to vomit straight away. So
Same.
no different to
Normal
spirits. Yeah.
Normal alcohol, yeah.
Um,
Me with Jack Daniels.
yeah.
Love that
So
relationship.
ghouls do not
Toxic
need
relationship.
ghouls do not need to eat regularly like humans do. They can usually survive for 1 or 2 months on just one body, depending on
wow.
what their activities are like at that time. However, some ghouls eat merely for pleasure. This gives us 2 subtypes of ghoul that we see in the world. One of them, the type of ghoul that Kaneki is lured into a date with, is a binge eater. So binge eater ghouls are utterly obsessed with feasting on human flesh, and they just want to keep eating. They are very dangerous, bloodthirsty, and even other ghouls dislike them as they create so much noise and can bring the authorities down to their ward.
Yeah, not because they eat people. They're just like, oh man.
Well,
really?
they all need to eat people.
They all
but
need to
it's-
eat people, but it's the excess.
If
You know?
if the small percentage of ghouls in the world of Tokyo, because we only really see them in Tokyo, if they only ate like their 1 human every 2 months allowance, they would probably make not enough noise to get in trouble. You know?
Yeah, you're right. We should just. Yeah.
Oh no, the sword is
sword. A sword just fell off our set.
That's okay. The other type.
God. You know,
Yeah.
I'm a bit of a binge eater, you know? Like, I relate with that. Sometimes you want to get your fill. But I do feel the kind of that person at the party, which I have been a bit before, is when you have like a bowl of like chips or something and you eat like a lot of it. You just keep eating it and you're like, oh shit, have I eaten too much? And you kind of look around and people kind of give you that look and you're like, oh, fuck.
I've eaten too much.
I've eaten too
I
much.
should stop. But also it tastes really good.
Yeah.
But there's only 1 bag of chips, and we need to leave the space.
I'm hungry. Give me
Yeah.
some chips.
Well, this other one is possibly more guy if Matt's the binge eater, and that is the gourmet.
Oh, baby, yes.
Gourmet
does sound like
ghouls
guy.
are obsessed. They are ghouls who are obsessed with the flavor and the taste of eating. They may not eat very often compared to binge eaters, but they often go out of their way to take special people or multiple people at once and do something to make the meal special to them in some either sadistic or not so sadistic way, depending on the gourmet, to achieve a fine taste. They cause issues for the community, as taking someone important to eat could be fun for them. For example, taking someone in a really important position of political power to then have that person in a powerless position may be fun for the gourmet, and also then to see the chaos it leaves behind. But also it could be something like taking an entire family at once and being like the gourmet meal tonight is an entire family.
Yeah, absolutely. You go from the least age to the most age, man. You make the others.
Yeah.
Don't give me those eyebrows.
It does.
I'm concerned.
The simplest thing we can kind of get to with the gourmets is a lot of them. We only really see a couple in the show. One of them is a lot more sadistic than others, but one of the more common things is wanting to befriend your meal and have your meals trust before you consume them.
Tastes better when you get to know it.
It's kind of that same thing that, like, I mean, you get with like livestock, where you don't want the cows to be like panicked and terrified when they get a hunt, because it can like make the meat not as good.
You want the cow to trust the butcher before he slices his throat.
That
you know?
kind of
Tastes better.
it's that kind of thing. Yeah.
It's very interesting. It's like, if we're still going back to the analogy here, it's like someone who runs through people and has a lot of different partners, or someone who really gets to know their partner and wants like one
Very intense. Yeah.
one monogamous relationship where you eat them. You know?
Exactly.
Or it's really kinky shit.
Yeah.
And they want to like try something like a threesome,
Mr. Grey. Yeah.
or an orgy, or
That exactly. Honestly, that is a really great analogy.
Thank you.
A speed dater versus a like kink master person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kink
King Master 2000.
Yeah.
Kink Master 2000. We have a lot of sex.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're going to get into this. Is there a selection process for the victims?
Depends on the gourmet.
Okay, cool.
Gourmet and binge eaters aren't a biological or like hard case type. It's more a tag applied to someone that has a habit.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So the gourmet, you might find, so like one gourmet, for example, might have a fucked up obsession with putting his meal into like a gladiatorial fight against something, and then after they lose the fight, will eat them. But if they survive and win the fight, then they've proven themselves and are free to go. That sort of thing.
Is there anything like that that affects their taste? Like, do they prefer people with red hair or something like that?
Well, that's the thing. Like, gourmet could be anything.
That's person to
that
person
could
to
be
person, though.
yeah.
Okay.
So that could be something that makes someone a gourmet, where they have a really specific taste for people with ginger hair.
Yeah, but it's not something known that like these people taste sweet. or
No,
something.
but then a lot of it's
Full
it's
personal
subjective
taste.
taste.
And there's
yeah.
not a specific thing of like, you can't eat this group of people.
No.
Okay, cool. Other question.
Mm-hmm.
I am assuming, for the sake of convenience for the series, that ghouls can't eat ghouls.
No, ghouls can't eat ghouls.
Okay,
Do
excellent.
ghouls taste normal? They taste bad.
I will. Yeah, I was kind of going to say that was one of the next things, but that's okay.
No, for sure.
The ghouls can get a lot of bonuses out of eating other ghouls, but they don't want to, because compared to humans, the flesh tastes awful.
But they get bonuses.
But they can get bonuses, but they can be bad bonuses sometimes.
That's a
What the
minus.
fuck are you on
That's
about?
not a bonus. That's a minus.
Well, it's a bonus until it gets too much, and then it becomes a negative. And so it tastes bad. It's not as great for them to eat, but also ghouls. If ghouls are already like a very small minority of the population who face a lot of scrutiny and like targeting in society. So there is a lot of like, we don't really want to turn against other ghouls if we can help it.
Yeah. I get that it would be like,
Yeah.
this is your only clan. Don't eat the people in the clan.
Yeah,
But,
but
at the
there
same
are
time,
definitely some,
If
yeah.
there's a motherfucker who's a binge eater,
Yep,
I can't get rid of him.
exactly. Well,
And
that
there's no point just letting his body go to waste.
yeah. Well, like I say, because I mean, it's one of the things that's pretty early. That you figure it out pretty early in the anime, so I assume the same in the manga. That, as I mentioned, our lovely protagonist Kaneki was on a date with one of those binge eaters, who then got mysteriously killed, and then he found himself taken in by the coffee people. They tried to police and control that district, so the coffee people had the binge eater killed, and unfortunately Kaneki was caught in the crossfire.
Right.
Yeah.
Was it like, what accident do you mean? Was it a car crash? Or?
They dropped some steel girders from like at the top of a skyscraper.
Steel beams!
They dropped steel They were near a construction site, and then some steel beams were dropped.
Timmy's
from,
galvanized steel beams. His aunt's bolts have not sustained the bearing.
Yeah,
Fine.
that's it.
Other final food question.
Yep.
Old body. Does it have to be fresh, or can I put some on freeze?
Yeah, put it in
They
the freezer.
definitely. It does not need to be a fresh body.
Okay, for sure. Yeah,
They
I'm
can-
just aware of other body-eating things like
100%.
what's the one I'm thinking of? Santa Clarita Diet.
Yeah.
Where like she has to eat fresh bodies or else they taste
Yeah,
like shit.
it doesn't. Like, they don't tend to go for rotting, like completely rotten.
Yeah.
But one of the ways that like the coffee shop ghouls, for example, one of the ways they find to peacefully keep ghouls fed, especially ghouls that Because not every ghoul is like a menacing monster that can go out and hunt people. There's kids, there's pacifists, there's all sorts of people that are just, they're born as a ghoul, they can't help that they need to eat flesh, right? So the coffee shop ghouls go to this particular cliff where a lot of people jump off to commit suicide, and they take the bodies from the bottom of the cliff and then use those bodies to feed ghouls.
I was going to suggest a mortuary, but honestly, that makes more sense that
Well,
they
they
would
don't
take a
have to-
suicide.
Yeah,
They don't have to deal with any authorities.
Yep.
They don't have to deal with any records.
Yep,
They just kind of have to deal with a missing persons report, but that's not even directly related with them.
exactly.
That works a lot better.
It works really well. Yeah,
Hey, they thought this one through.
capitalizing on suicide rates, right?
I mean, yeah, like in Vampire Diaries,
Yeah.
they don't have to drink from people, but it tastes better when you drink
Yeah,
from
yeah.
people.
There is a little bit of that. So I mean, but then once again, it's very like ghouls, generally speaking, aren't eating for the taste. They're eating purely for survival. So the taste is secondary to most of them.
To peasants,
Yes.
unlike the
Except for
gourmet.
the gourmets and the binge eaters.
But on that note, when a ghoul enters extreme state of hunger, they will suffer very painful headaches and their mental ability will be impaired, causing them to become driven by instinct alone and become more bestial. Yes, just like you. They will feed on any available source of human meat in this state, even that of close friends they would never dream of hurting. As we see in the series, when the protagonist attempts to eat his best friend but is just stopped by another ghoul who has been in a similar situation herself, she describes the state of near starvation as living hell for any ghoul. So you may be getting a vibe from these creatures. I don't know, another fantasy creature-y vibe. I don't know. There's a lot of very classic vampire traits here.
I was going to say dragons, but no.
Yes,
Very similar.
unfortunately not.
Yeah, they do be vamps.
Vampire, a lot of very typical vampire tropes and traits, but with the diet of a fantasy ghoul, ghouls being flesh eaters rather than blood eaters, but a lot of like the hidden society, sneaking their way through, being incredibly strong and inhumanely strong, that sort of thing. We will now move forward into the ways that they really start to deviate from vampires or ghouls, and that is something called RC cells.
Can I ask? Maybe you're going to go into this.
No, 100%, go for it.
Are they like dead, or is it like a virus? Are they alive?
Is it magic?
Does it change the
That
DNA?
pretty much does get. That's pretty much where we are at now of the RC cells. What they
Okay, and does that answer also a question
Yeah.
about aging?
are. No, but I'll just say now, ghouls age pretty much the exact same way as humans.
Okay, so they're not immortal.
They're not an immortal thing. They are literally just humans with an added organ, basically. And that added organ is what I'm going to get to now.
A whole new instrument. Look at that.
A whole new instrument.
It's a big instrument.
So, RC cells, red children cells. I hate that that's their name.
Red
but
children
Red
cell?
children cells.
Yep.
Ew.
I mean, to be
apparently
fair,
the cells, to quote the wiki, because apparently the cells look like little tiny fetuses.
nice. Well, I
hate
mean, that is very in line with biology. Like
Yeah.
red blood cells,
Yeah.
they're red.
Yeah.
White blood cells, they're white.
Yep.
It's like there's a lot of stuff that's like that.
Yep.
What is a fetus but a bunch of cells? You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah.
What are you but a bunch of cells?
And RC cells are a fictional cell that only exist in the world of Tokyo Ghoul. This is not a real thing, people. They do exist in both humans in small amounts, and ghouls. Ghouls having lots more of them. In the body, they flow like blood, but they can quickly and easily become as solid as teeth. They could be thought of as liquid muscles. Typically,
Liquid muscles?
yep, liquid shapeable muscles that can become teeth or sharp.
That's what the guy at the gym sold those steroids to me as.
Liquid muscle,
Liquid
yeah, man.
muscles.
Teeth are not muscles, but okay.
That's also extremely true.
They typically a ghoul gains RC cells by eating people or other ghouls. Within the body, RC cells are concentrated and stored in a sac called a kakaho.
Sorry, stored in the what?
Sorry, it's
stored in a sack.
Called the kakaho.
Oh, okay.
The red children's cells are stored in the kakaho.
Yeah, RC cells are stored in the sac. Yes.
In the sack.
Yeah, in the sack.
Yeah.
He is stored in the balls and RC cells are stored in the sack.
Yeah. That is exactly it.
Kakaho.
A kakaho. Yeah.
It sounds very Kiwi.
Kakaho.
Yes. So the kakaho,
It's the shit.
I could just be mispronouncing it.
Maybe,
Which
I
is
don't know.
pretty fair. But the kakaho is a sac-like organ that is only present in ghouls that they are born with.
Hangs between their legs.
Nope, it is connected to their spine.
Oh.
Oh.
Yep.
Please be inside the body.
Where? Top or bottom?
We'll get to that.
Please be inside the body.
Inside the body.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
It's like an internal organ.
Great. I was imagining it hanging on the back.
No. And
Ew.
it
It's on the back. They run. They got like hunchbacks.
is in their back, but the position on the spine causes a different effect on the ghoul. So we'll get to that.
Ooh. Yo, I
So
got that high sack.
the
The
Kakaho
sack hangs
store. I hate this sack talk. This sack talk is awful.
What are you doing, guy? Why are you a frog? What are you-
Heartbeat.
That was horrible. That was horrifying. Good.
Yep. Fuck me.
He just started making creature noises,
Yeah.
so don't blame me.
I-
We're all in this together, baby.
I'm not here.
The
I wish I
Kakaho
wasn't.
stores the RC cells and allows nutrition contained within to be absorbed by the ghoul.
Cool.
These cells are transported to the Kakaho in blood and stored inside. The RC cells can be given shape and released from the Kakaho, piercing the skin either consciously or due to excitement.
Wait, what?
Yep. These released cells form something called a kagune. A kagune is the primary weapon and tool of ghouls, which we will get to next. Worth noting that if a Kakaho becomes damaged, it is unable to form this thing. So basically, it can shoot out these cells, forming it into some kind of shape that is used as a weapon.
Wonder what it is.
It's not a sword.
What? Okay, I'm actually surprised. I thought it
Yeah.
was a sword.
No.
Gotta be a blade of some sort.
Well, the RC factor is coming from this. So the RC factor is a measure of the amount of RC cells in the body. So ghouls typically have an RC factor 10 times higher than humans. So the average human would probably have an RC factor of like 200 to 500, while the ghoul has 1,000 to 8,000, depending.
Wow, his
They have
RC
a-
factor is off the charts.
It's over 9,000!
Now you're starting to sound like an anime.
Yeah,
That's what I mean. A lot of those kind of quotes don't find their way in, which is interesting.
What?
Yeah.
They
Um,
had the numbers. They've got the quote. It's right
If,
there.
for whatever reason, a normal human receives an excessive amount of RC cells, such as through experiments, they would start to develop ghoul-like characteristics and may eventually not be able to consume human food. So too many RC cells can start to make you like a ghoul.
Are people born ghouls?
You have to be born a ghoul.
Except for that one character.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that was
so you
because of a
can't-
very specific piece
That's
of
why I
surgery.
said-
Yeah, okay. I was thinking you get bit and then you turn to a ghoul. That's not
Wait.
true.
Was the organ that got transplanted from the binge eater that he was dating the sack?
It must have.
It must have been.
Why do they give him that?
Why did they do?
Well, we later find out in the show that it was no accident that he was.
Okay, yeah.
It was-
That should be a good giveaway pretty quickly.
I probably should have guessed
you
that.
you have to be born with the Kakaho to be a ghoul. To be a
To be a
and
goat.
to be a goat.
Not that is not the sound
None of
a
us got the
goat.
goat sound.
Wah.
Anyway,
That's closer.
that was a sheep.
pretty good, actually.
So finally, I will add that a ghoul can have more than one Kakaho. In some cases, it seems that the stronger a ghoul becomes, their body may start to develop more Kakaho if they get more RC content. Examples being the legendary one-eyed owl having 6 to 8, and a ghoul named Jason having 3, and Kaneki, our protagonist, having an unspecified amount by the end
He's
of the
got
show.
6 to 8 sacks.
Yeah, he's got a lot of sacks.
Oh my god.
Last
so much
so
He's
much
got
cock.
so many Kakaho.
So last quick thing to jump through before we get to the spicier part of the Kagune. So ghouls have something called a kakugun, which is, a kakugun, which refers to the distinctive phenomenon in their eyes. So when they hit this state, their iris transforms into a striking shade of red, while their sclera becomes pitch black, with crimson veins expanding across the eye and into the surrounding skin.
So vampire.
Very vampire. The ability to enter this state is usually within a ghoul's control, though it can manifest involuntary when they experience heightened emotions, extreme hunger, or when they deploy their Kagune, which
Very nice.
is what we're going to get to now. So the Kagune.
Deploy the Kagune.
Deploy the Kagune.
Oh, what's his name? What's the main character's name?
Kaneki.
Kaneki, use your gun. What is it? Kakune.
Kagune.
Kakune.
Yeah.
Please.
See, now you understand how I feel when you guys start talking about like Game of Thrones or whatever. It's the names don't fucking
I'm
they
so
don't stick. They slide right off my brain.
Yeah.
What
Well, that's
do you mean?
Matt's.
Aegon, Aegon.
Yeah, of course,
Not to be
dude.
confused with Damon, and Daron.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
John, and John.
Yeah.
God damn. God
And-
bless our George.
And Dick.
Oh, we love Dick on.
We love Dick on. So with Kagune.
Guys, shut the fuck.
Um,
You're lying to me.
It's
So-
a real character.
Yes, it is. So, as I said, the Kogane is formed by the RC cells being released from the Kagaho and piercing through the skin. This is the ghoul's predatory organ and functions as their weapon, teeth, and claws. It is usually as red as blood. The color varied to the anime, however, to make it easier to distinguish the characters fighting. Because in the anime, the manga, it was actually black and white, so they could describe it as whatever color they want.
So they grow claws and teeth when they need to, and they go back away.
Not exactly. We'll discuss what a Kagane actually looks like.
Okay.
But it acts as their weapon.
Okay.
It acts as their claws, basically.
What do you mean axe as their claws?
Well, it does the function that a claw would do if they were a vampire.
So it's not. It's just. It's not a claw at all. It's like a psychic weapon or like a.
Well,
It's
they look
strictly biological.
If you stop cheating and looking at Google, then I'll actually tell you what they look like because it's completely different. Depending.
But they're not claws.
Well, they can be though.
Oh, okay.
That's the thing. They are sometimes. So the Kogane is a voluntary muscle that ghouls can control whenever they want, and they can repeatedly harden and soften them at will. Don't you laugh?
Yeah, man.
Kogane size depends on the RC cell's quantity and quality, while the shape depends on the creativity and intellect of the user. Although a ghoul's healing ability is high, the healing of wounds is delayed if it is inflicted with the Kogane. So if they wound each other, it's not so good. It is also evident that in order to counter a Kagane in battle, one must also have a Kagane. So
you
we'll
can't
get
win a
into,
fight if you don't have a Kagane. It's can't win
Yep.
a Kagane.
So we'll get into how humans try to fight them later.
Okay.
I mean,
But they need something to even the odds.
They seem to be. It seems to be similar to like a blood. No, it's not. They're like blood cells.
Yeah.
Like a blood version of like the Green Lantern's ring,
Yeah.
where you imagine something to like a big punch and you hit it with a big punch.
Kind of, yeah. That is a good way of thinking about it. So Kagane can take many different shapes and styles, largely dependent on your bloodline and personality / what you are trying to create. There's not a huge amount of customization from your base shape, but we do see ghouls having the ability to slightly change the basic shape to combat particular foes or even surprise enemies. So if your Kagane looks like a big set of tentacles, it's always going to be kind of a big set of tentacles, but you might be able to form them together to make a shield or make them into one bigger tentacle to strike someone. I don't know.
So it's dependent on your personality.
A little bit. It's parents and kids will have a similar Kagane.
Ah, so it's like
Hereditary.
hereditary.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Interesting.
But your personality will have a little bit of an impact on how it comes out and how it looks. But not as impactful as the 4 distinctive types that they come in. And
It's
each
like
of
your
these...
hair, right?
Yeah.
You can't depend how sleek your hair is, how curly it's going to be, what color it's going to be, but you can style it.
That's a good way. Yeah, sure. That kind of works. I
Sure.
think, yeah.
I'm the expert at analogies.
You are
okay?
the expert in analogies, yeah.
Terrible analogies.
So Kagane come in 4 distinctive types, which have a unique flavor to them, and roughly the shape, the appearance, as well as giving them some unique powers. So we have Ukaku, which usually appears loosely like a light plumage of feathers around their shoulders or wings.
Cool.
We have the Kukaku, which comes out as either a blade-like weapon or shield around the user's arms. Haha, fooled you.
They do have swords.
You fucking
bastard.
And Rinkaku, which comes out of the middle back and is a set of tentacles, usually. And then finally, we have the Bikaku, which comes out from the bottom of the spine and is sort of like a monkey tail, if you want to be really general with it.
Yep.
So what you're looking at there would be some... Yeah, you've got some examples.
Yeah, we've got a couple of them. They're in little pixel art things because they're just the basic forms of them. But yeah, various tentacles, wings, a tail, a guy with a tentacle around his arm, and then there's just some motherfuckers with weapons. Which you're a rat. What the fuck?
Someone's got a
Ignore-
full set of armor.
The weapons, ignore them. I don't want you to
Ignore
look at
them?
We'll talk about that later.
Someone's got a
Okay.
full set. What the fuck is this guy? This guy's got a whole weapon, like a whole
No,
machine
we're
next to
ignoring
him.
them.
You
We're
ignore
following instructions. We're
Ignore
ignoring them. Most of them have tentacles or wings.
I only worry about literally the first 4 there is what we need to look at right now.
Perfect.
So the formation of them. So there is 3 different stages of forming a Kagane. So you have the formative stage, where the RC cells erupt from the sac.
Rough from my second.
Are you hot or soft when you erupt from the sack?
It starts off soft. The erupted RC cells will form bonds with each other. They will organize themselves in the structure to best fit their RC type in a repeated web. and this repeated action of the cells will occur instantaneously and lead to the next stage, which is the fixative stage. The bonded RC cells will retain the resulted form for a fixed length of time, depending on how well fed the ghoul is, because it is using RC cells, and they get RC cells from eating. So this is when you start to run into, is one human every 2 months enough?
So you're more powerful the more you eat.
Generally speaking.
I mean, by default, ghouls are cooler than humans. They're stronger and faster, but
Yeah.
So, but this is the power that uses the RC cells.
Yeah.
So hypothetically, if you just live your life as a stronger but have to be slightly hidden and eat some human flesh every 2 months human, you can get by.
100%. 100%.
But as soon as when you start using these powers, how often do you need to up?
There isn't really a set formula for it. Unfortunately,
Give me the fucking numbers, Jude.
there is not a set numbers for it.
It's like I imagine we always look for the exact numbers of things in these things, like how many hours, how many minutes, how many cells they need. But like think about it exercise wise. Yeah. I can run, but I couldn't tell you how long before I died. And like every person on the street would be different. You can get everyone could go sprint for about a couple minutes. Everyone could go for like an hour.
I'm sorry, quick pause. Matthew, do you think everyone can sprint for quote a couple minutes?
I think maybe the average person can sprint for like a minute, maybe. Or a couple.
No, dude.
Okay.
Like sprint as fast as you can.
Maybe I'm being a bit
You're
generous.
being generous. We're in our
But I
early
imagine
20s.
it's like that. Like I feel like we're too looking for the numbers in these things. All the time.
It's a very natural. It's a very
obsessed with the numbers.
Yeah. Well, it's a very natural part, and it's that thing. Yeah. So it depends because it depends too much on like how much you're fighting, how many times, if you're having to form and disintegrate, which is the next stage after time has elapsed. The bonds between the cells begin to break apart, and at this point, the cognate loses its solidity and just deteriorates. Yeah. So if you're having to like shove it out, put it out there, fight with it, it falls away. You form it again, or if something cuts it off and you have to form it again. If you're having to do that, that's going to make you go through RC cells a lot faster than if you just have one big fight where you've got it out the whole time and don't have to reform it.
When you dissolve it, do you suck them back in?
No, it just deteriorates outside the body.
Deteriorates. Do you mean like disappears into dust, or do you mean like
Literally
splats to the ground?
Like disintegrates into dust.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I'm disappointed because I think
a lot less messy.
Well, I thought if it's blood magic, it's kind of funny if they lose like their focus on it. It just kind of like splats to the ground.
Well, they can't get cut off by other cognate.
Do they splat to the ground then?
That they will do.
Nice.
They will disintegrate after a time. But
if they're doing blood magic, I need some splats.
Yeah. So basically, the way you can think about it is RC cells are basically like they are literally liquid muscles with like an almost programmable quantity to them. It is like having access to a building block cell that you can use to make anything.
Nice.
You tap it and it does that thing, and then you can control it. But once it loses that quality, those cells are going to start falling apart, disintegrating and falling apart from each other. And then imagine if you put a thing down and it started breaking away into its individual cells, it's going to it's going to look like it's... Yeah, exactly. It feels very like nanobots.
Nanobots, so you control your mind and you can slice. Like in Big Hero 6.
Sure. Haven't seen it, but...
Man, every day, I know I'm on the same boat as you, but also every day I find another movie that you need to watch.
Yep.
We do the same for you, buddy.
What I just said. I know I'm in the same boat.
Yeah, he did say it.
I'm not in any boat. I'm drowning.
Yeah. So,
please help me.
We're going to dive into Ukaku, which is the first type of kagane.
Wahoo!
So an ukaku is spread out like feathers from the top of the spine. So this is where the kakaho would be in people with this kagane. It is at the top of their spine, like right at the base of their neck. And it is spread out all around their shoulders, usually. It specializes in high-speed attacks, and the users generally seem to have a highly enhanced speed beyond the normal ghoul. With this in mind, they specialize in hit-and-run tactics in fighting and hunting, and this kagane is lightweight and can be used to deliver high-speed attacks against an adversary. While its feathers are in a flexible state, you can use it as both an offensive and defensive tool in close quarters fighting, but the primary method of attack is crystallizing their kagane into many different spikes and shooting them out in a high-speed torrent of projectiles. Yeah. However, whilst crystallized, they are much stiffer and it becomes harder to use it in a short-range combat.
Okay.
setting.
Very nice.
So liquid and fluid, you can fight with it like an extended appendage, basically.
Mhm.
And then you jump off into the air. You can usually glide with a Nukaku really well
I
because
was
it's
going
big
to
and
ask if you could
feathery.
fly.
And then you turn it into hard projectiles and start shooting like razor sharp crystals at people.
Sounds pretty damn
I
useful.
was going to say that sounds really good. And it also sounds like there's some epic, like 45-degree angle shots of someone just like firing off a bunch of bolts.
That is it.
Hell yeah.
I also
Um,
love a good jump off a building and glide.
Oh, fuck yeah, dude.
It
Batman
is,
does
yeah.
it very well.
He does. So as stated, Ukaku type ghouls have increased speed compared to the normal ghoul, both in attacking capabilities and just general movement and reflexes. This is achieved by quickly releasing RC cells and burning through their stamina. However, this does mean that the Ukaku type users lack endurance and are at a massive disadvantage when the battle starts to drag on.
That's fair.
Oh, yeah.
So they are
use
classic lightweight sprinters.
Oh,
Glass cannon.
They are the glass cannon, exactly.
Yeah.
Who, a well-known Ukaku type ghoul from the series, is a character called Toka Kirishima. She is one of the central characters of the show, especially through the first time period, the first 2 seasons or the first block of the manga. We see Toka going through end of schooling and college years and developing friendship and maybe more with Kaneki. She is one of the coffee shop ghouls. During the time of Toka's first few fights of the series, we see her form a single big Ukaku wing that she could control with ease. As time passed, however, she developed the ability to gain a second wing, with her projectiles becoming much larger in size. This reflects how your ghouls, as they grow and develop and continue to eat, they can get stronger and develop their abilities further.
But they always stay in their lane, though.
Yeah. And
as,
so
as you get older, you get bigger and stronger.
that's it. Extreme cases, so there's always going to be some form of big power-up version of these powers. And the most fucked thing we've seen with Ukaku types is the ability to literally generate powerful kind of lightning bolts from their Kagune.
Pardon?
What?
And like energy blasty thing. Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
So we start to see, from more powerful Ukaku types, we start to see like static electricity around their feathers. So this character Toka, when she's like in her more powerful stage toward the end of the show or series rather, you start to see as she like uses her Kagune, there's like static electricity and stuff.
Is it like static or is it like bioelectricity like eels?
We don't know.
I mean, it's
I would assume that it's bioelectricity like eels, would be my assumption, but it just looks like a static
I
electricity.
like bio eels.
It should be bio. And then we see the really extreme cases of incredibly powerful Ukaku types where they can literally shoot like a lightning burst from it.
Yeah, for
'Cause why the fuck not?
Yeah.
It's so good.
I do, like, I remember in the earlier episodes, like the X-Men ones, I used to, like, be really into, like, the details of the science of this thing. But, like, when you start and you're just like, there are zombies that are like vampires that have a sack that have blood in them, that I'm just like, cool. Sure. We're already off the edge here.
Yep.
I might as well just enjoy the free fall.
Yeah.
I can see we've broken Guy.
Well
Yeah.
and truly, hey, listen, it's been a long time.
So we'll go into the second type, and that is the Kukaku. So Kukaku Kagune is released below the shoulder blade, so the upper middle back. So this is where your Kukaku sack would be.
My cuckoo sack.
Your Kukaku sack.
Sorry, it's still so good.
Yep, it's great. I know.
They shouldn't have called it a sack.
It has-
Sack is the only,
Compared to other ones, compared to other Kukaku locations, it means that the RC cells have a higher density and making it a extremely heavy and robust Kagune. This makes it the sturdiest and makes them very well suited for defense. Normally, they are shaped into armor or shields, but on the offense, they can be shaped into kind of melee weapons like drills, hammers, blades, and swords. We'll get to that character. In practice, it often comes across like a duelist's blade or even a sword and shield combo or hammer and shield, whatever you want. You get the idea. In terms of powers, the Kukaku Ghoul tends to demonstrate a fighter-like quality, fairly tanky, kind of heavyweight fighter, but generally also very durable with lots of stamina.
Tank build.
So they are kind of the tank fighter build, generally speaking. The big weakness of the Kukaku is speed, range, and the fact that you do kind of have to be quite skilled to use it as a weapon, because it basically gives you a duelist blade, and you need to train with that shit. You can't just spray and pray crystal shots, you know? In fact, due to its high weight and density, Kukaku's speed is generally inferior to all other RC types, and the Kagune is very difficult to wield. Not too much more to say on this. They're quite strong.
when wielded correctly.
But that's it. Yeah. So who? For this one, we have a character named Shu Tsukiyama, who is a Kukaku Kogane wielding ghoul we see a lot of in the series. First entering as one of the original enemies of the show, then he goes back and forth between enemy, ally, enemy, friend, rival, almost romantic interest at one point, enemy, and again, rival, friend. It's confusing. He's also French. And a gourmet.
So he should be an enemy.
Yeah.
If he's French.
And he's one of the gourmet ghouls. So he's one of the ones that has fucked up taste and stuff.
I can only, if you're saying gourmet ghoul, I can only hear the fucking ratatouille. I don't know the words to
I
it.
think that's fantastic.
And he's
sitting there with the little,
And he's French.
with
yeah.
the little napkin
Oh
in
my
the
God.
shirt. And the...
Yep.
He's perfect.
Can I be honest? His general appearance is like bright purple hair, perfectly combed, bright purple suit, and a big white.
Who put this fucking JoJo character in?
I know. And he's French. And so in the English dub, he does have a very great French accent.
Oh, great.
Incredible.
And has a lot of random French words thrown
I'd
in
be
there.
really interested to hear what a French-Japanese accent sounds
Same.
like.
Same.
A drill is a cool.
Hey,
Is a cool.
konnichiwa.
Konnichiwa.
Oh, bonjour.
That's just French.
French.
Nice try. Very good.
Hey, yours was just Japanese, okay?
Japanese in a French accent, which is what we've been talking about.
Fucking hell, that broke me.
Itadakimasu. Delicious.
Fucking hell. So anyway, his
Konnichiwa.
Kagune can form a linear metallic ribbon.
I do like his drill.
That's what
Drill
that looks
attack.
like. So his one forms a linear metallic ribbon that can wrap into a flexible spiral that doubles as armor and a shield to his upper body, while still ending in a lethal point. To extend his reach, he can extend his Kagune into a large, almost sword-like blade that just kind of comes from like his shoulder down his hand and then sticks out the end. And that is suited for thrusting and stabbing.
Looking at it wrapped around his arm, the actual length of the material would imply that he can do like a sort of longer attack. What's his range?
That's what I'm saying. So he can extend his reach and form it into a large blade.
But at large blade, is that like a meter? Is that like 2 meters, 5 meters, 10 meters?
couple of meters maybe. It
Okay,
depends.
for sure,
It
for sure.
depends.
No one gets out a fucking measuring tape during
Yeah.
the episode.
I
and
no,
goes,
because I'm
oh,
interested.
that must be.
No, it's
3
fair.
meters long."
Because
It doesn't. It yeah.
because he reminds me of a One Punch Man character. All right.
That's fair. I respect
Spring
that.
I can
Mustachio,
imagine-
Spring Mustachio has a little sword that he has that's a little twirly spring, and he fucking
Yeah.
and then it just extendo swords, which is great.
Anime's weird, man.
Anime's fucking
man.
incredible.
We
I can
see
see a
this
driller being
fight
a very-
We usually see him fight with this very similar to a rapier. Is the thing that
I
say.
can see a drill being very good for a gourmet.
Yeah.
In the worst ways.
Uh-huh,
In the
100%.
worst ways possible. And he's French. God, nothing against the French. I love French listeners, but God, he's French.
Yep.
Oh, he's so French.
See Spring Mustachio. Sorry, I'm showing them a quick
Incredible.
image of Spring
Oh, I thought
Mustachio.
that was-
So you can see his
also
sword.
He's also French.
He's also French. And he also has a very twisted up sword. What is it with
Yeah.
the French and rapiers?
What's with the?
It was a French creature.
That's crazy. It's
What's with
almost
the
like that's the joke I was going for.
Oh, okay. Well,
Am I too good at sarcasm for you?
No, there was
No,
no
it's
sarcasm
more
in
the
your
fact-
voice.
no, it was less that. It was more that you generally that's
that I generally don't know things. Actually, never mind. Entirely real.
yeah. I wasn't gonna say that.
No,
but
what's
yeah.
with the French and curly things? You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's true.
Like a curly, like a drill, like a mustache, like the curl. Like they love a bit of curl. Like
It's artistic.
like
it's beautiful.
the
It is.
baguettes. It's not the baguettes. That's the opposite. The curl.
croissant,
The
I think you mean,
croissants.
yeah.
Sorry, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Baguettes are like the opposite of
That gets like the
curls.
straightest
It's
thing.
the straightest thing in
Yeah.
France.
Yeah. It
The
is the
people are
straightest thing in
definitely
France,
not.
yeah.
Why'd you fucking say that when I was drinking? That's such a rat move.
It's like, actually, it's one of my favorite things to come out of the New Boy season. A bunch of like the hardcore fans
Oh.
are crying because they made one of the characters whose name is literally Frenchie have a relationship with a dude in this season. Everyone was like breaking the internet, like, why they can't make Frenchie gay? And everyone's like, guys, he's French.
Get with it.
He's been gay the entire time. And we love him.
Anyway, you're gonna love this next bit. Extreme cases of a kukaku.
I'm gonna just believe what you say because it just
You can
sounds.
say whatever you want,
So
man.
the extreme cases of this shoulder blade thing.
Yep.
Yes.
Can you guess what their extreme cases might be?
Big
Armor,
scythe,
armor,
swords,
cannon,
cannon.
Nope.
cannon gun.
Psychic powers.
Fuck off.
What?
So kind of wild, but we see some ghouls with the Kukaku type Kagune have illusory or mental powers while using their Kagune.
Now go fuck yourself.
One ghoul in particular, known as the Priest,
Oh,
is able to clone himself 4 times.
What?
Each of these clones operating for a short time independently and able to deceive enemies. We don't know enough about this
real?
Can
you hit them?
No. You hit them, it kind of removes the... It's more of an illusion.
They're illusions.
Clone.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fuck that guy.
Yep.
I don't want the priest coming anywhere near me.
He's really fucked up, but yeah.
But he's
Imagine
called the
he-
priest.
he-
He's called
he-
the priest.
He ran an orphanage, and what do you think happened to the orphans that didn't get collected?
They got adopted.
He
They
adopted-
didn't get collected. Sorry, they were given into their own freedom and then got some government assistance.
He adopted them into his stomach.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a forever home.
It is a forever home.
I mean, they're not suffering anymore, I guess.
Oh God, man, you don't have to say
Moving
that.
on, we're going to go to the next type, which is a rinkaku.
Oh.
So rinkaku is generally an appearance like scaled tentacles and is released around the lower middle of the back, close-ish to the waist. Yes, you are circling the correct image there.
We see a guy with tentacles.
Its peculiar appearance and structure yields superior striking power, and they excel in brute strength. Some Rinkaku users are able to manipulate the shape of their Kagune extraordinarily well, such as changing the usual tentacle form into swords or claws. We don't tend to see Rinkaku... What are you looking at me like that for?
I'm listening to you.
Okay, sure you
I
are.
was listening intently.
We don't see Rinkaku using clear fighting styles like the others. So like how you have the Kukaku sword and shield fighting or the flying around shooting of the Yukaku. Instead, they tend to have a very natural, almost animalistic fighting style. The tentacles tend to become an extension of their body and they just rip into their foes like claws. Rinkaku wielders have a very powerfully enhanced regenerative ability and slightly enhanced strength. So... bit stronger than the normal ghoul, but they regenerate their wounds really quickly.
This is the strength class. We had the speed class, we had the tank class, the strength class.
This is the strength build, yeah.
Yeah.
Power
build.
The type's regenerative power is a result of the type of RC cells that they are producing getting from their Kukaku, and it makes the cells from their sac. It lets the cells more easily bind together and be more flexible than other Kagune types. Their RC cells are the most similar to liquid. That's why they have the most free-flowing, woobly appearance to them.
Absolutely.
However,
What he said.
this means that the binding force among the RC cells are weaker and therefore making the Kagune comparatively soft and easy to break if you target it. But because of the RC cells binding so easily, some Rinkaku users can bind multiple tentacle-like Kagune together to make a larger, stronger Kagune. So far, the number of tentacles that Rinkaku users can create are anywhere from 1 to 8 tentacles, depending on their RC type.
Have we seen what the upper limit of this class creates?
Yes, we all get to him next.
They're octopus men.
I'm sure with all these tentacles in this anime that there are nothing
bad online.
nothing else
Definitely
online.
No.
You should
about
not
that.
Google anything relating to
No,
Tokyo
you
Ghoul and
should just to
tentacles.
prove to yourself that there's nothing bad that they've
I-
done with these tentacles.
I hear there's 34 of them in the show, so you should look up.
So-
I heard that it's a rule that they have to have 34 every episode. So if you search up Tokyo Ghoul Rule 34, it will, you'll learn more about the number of tentacles rule.
Yeah.
So who for this one? Our main character Ken Kaneki is the best example of a Rinkaku Kagune type. Kaneki's Kagune is portrayed in the anime as bright red, becoming darker shade as it nears the tips. In his first major fight, I knew that was coming. You literally, could you hear me hesitate before I said tip?
You
No.
did. I heard a little moment. Nothing connected.
And then Matt did.
And then
exactly.
Matt got it. Matt knows what's up.
In his first major fight, Kaneki was possessing 3 tentacles, which repeatedly impaled his foe before throwing him
Throwing the
a few
enemy.
100 meters away.
You know, people from my job know I have this podcast.
And now they're going to check it out. Yeah.
It worries me sometimes.
Yeah.
It worries me.
After being captured and tortured, Kaneki was able to produce 4 tentacles, which were capable of pinning down and overwhelming a much more experienced and powerful ghoul. During further fighting, as he increased his RC count, Kaneki's Kagune further developed into 6 tentacles. I know, crazy.
An incredible
He
number
is
of tentacles.
able to gain control of and manipulate the shape of his Kagane at will and command the tentacles to process different tasks at once.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. So especially when he's living his life as his alter ego, where he's like looking after training people, he can be like dad and mom around the house, like making food for the kids and have his little Kagane tentacles doing stuff. It's pretty funny.
Pretty exhausting, though, because you can't put them out for long.
Yeah. Well, he gets a steady supply of meat, I guess.
I guess he must.
In yet
Yeah, for sure. He
If
gets
one
a
good
steady
thing about
supply of meat.
If one thing about the gay/ghoul community, they get a steady
They
supply.
get a
of-
steady
they
supply of
do.
meat.
I was wondering how long it would take for one of you to make a gay to meat joke. Anyway,
Yeah.
yeah.
I took what time's in the episode?
1 hour 15, baby. Let's go.
Well,
Plus a
Minus
little.
-5 minutes at the start. Whatever.
yes. In yet later fights, we see he was able to shape his Kagane into more intricate forms, and his Kagane becomes much larger.
What do you mean by intricate forms?
Stop talking about his card.
No, I'm genuinely.
Stop talking
Is it
about
a shield? Or are you talking about like?
He forms it in the final fight that he ever has.
Nope.
He forms it into a whole bunch of swords that he then
Fuck
starts
yeah!
fighting
See,
with.
this is what I'm here for.
Why were you giggling? That was fine. You didn't have to giggle like that when you said it.
Me?
Yeah, you were giggling.
You're
I was
the only one who
giggling
was
from
giggling.
you.
I was concerned.
You giggled, which made me giggle.
I was concerned. A bunch of swords is very cool.
Bunch of fucking
How many swords did he have?
schoolgirls.
Like
Professionals here.
6 or 8 or something.
Cool.
It's a lot.
That's a lot of
Anyway.
swords. You lost count at that
Yeah.
point.
I thought you said that's hot. I was,
It is. That's a
a
lot.
lot.
It's also hot.
Crazy. So
yeah,
look,
man.
the crazy forms, we see Rinkaku do some wild things. So with Kaneki, by the time he's eaten some other more powerful ghouls, we see that he starts to almost take on weird mutations from those ghouls into his Rinkaku Kagane. So like creating literal mouths and eyes into the massive tendrils.
Yikes.
I'm
Like-
good. No.
You
No.
know?
You can stop.
How quickly does the show devolve into like just body horror with eyes and mouths on everything?
Season 4.
Nice.
Season 4, great.
Season
Yeah.
4. All right.
Yeah.
I can see where people were like, kind of concerned about season 4.
Bikaku, the last one.
Can I mention?
Yeah.
Just like for reference, I don't know if anyone else will get this, but some people surely. It reminds me of Umbrella Academy. Ben.
Yeah.
Ben.
Ben's gotten a mention in 2 of the last 3 episodes.
Would you love Ben?
We do love Ben.
We do love
It
that.
comes out the front of him
Yeah.
in originally, but I've seen like there's a trailer for the next season
Mm.
coming out his back,
Fuck yeah.
which is like kind of weird.
That's very Tokyo Ghoul like.
Very Tokyo Ghoul.
Very Tokyo Ghoul. So the Bikaku is a Kagane, typically has a tail-like appearance and is released around the tailbone/coccyx area. It is good for medium distance attacks and has decent offense, defense, and speed. Thus, it has no notable strengths or weaknesses, and the other Kagane, and it is treated. It's basically treated as the balanced Kagane and the well-rounded monk type almost.
This is when you can't pick.
Yeah, basically. So the number of tails a Bikaku user can create is usually 1, but some people with multiple Kakuhos or higher cell count can produce more. While not always the case, Bikaku type ghouls almost have a very monk-like style to them. Some can use their tail Kagane like a monkey or a kangaroo would in fighting. Others use it as a big club, battering people around them. Many more use it as a combination of everything. In any case, their strength lies in balance. So
Yeah, tail does help you balance.
exactly. So there's a couple examples. There's one named, his ghoul name is the Devil Ape, and he has like this big monkey mask, and he literally like swings around fucking lampposts and buildings using his big Kagane like a monkey tail.
I
And then
sick.
he'll like just punch you up basically because he's strong.
fuck yeah, dude. Absolutely froth that
Yeah,
shit. That's
yeah.
great.
That was pretty sick.
He's just a monkey man.
Now, a side note from
Uh-huh.
you're probably going to get into it,
Uh-huh.
but the mouths is
Yep.
that a thing on a lot of them?
No.
Okay.
Generally, it's just Rinkaku that can make theirs into mouths.
Oh no, specifically, but the Rinkaku like those ones.
It's not very common, no.
Okay, cool.
Not
so
very
not
common
even
at all.
within the Rinkaku.
No,
cool.
no. Yeah,
Cool.
it's
Just
only
clarifying,
extreme cases
because
that
I
we
can
see
see
weird.
on the page in front of us. There's 2 of them that have what seem like mouths on them, but I'm also not 100% sure those aren't tentacles from the previous one.
Yeah. Honestly, there are some cases that, for the sake of ease, making it a comprehensible episode, I've chosen to ignore some things.
Brilliant.
I might talk about them in a future episode, but it gets to... It does start to get to a lot of... Especially by the time you get to, like, the intense conclusions of season 4, it starts to be very, here are our established rules, and now we're going to break all of them.
Oh, yeah. Sometimes in media, you just need to go, these are the rules, and then
Yeah.
there's always going to be an exception because
Yeah.
they're the most powerful character and they're going to break all the fucking
But
rules.
also,
That's it.
like, it's not even like breaking the rules. Like, I love a lot of anime has a very interesting, and I think one of the things that anime does, as much as it becomes stupid at a certain point, it's part of it. I enjoy how they do power scaling, where it's
Yeah.
like we start off, here's the rules, and then they just slowly like bump the rules like outwards until it becomes like stupid.
Yeah, 100%.
One Piece is doing the exact same thing right
Yep.
now with the more recent series and Gear 5.
I
Yeah.
love Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan. It's
Yeah.
my favorite. Have you not?
Super
Sure.
Saiyan,
Have you not
Saiyan
seen,
God,
there's
man.
in Dragon Ball, I don't know much about Dragon Ball, but I know that they went to like think of fairy schools after they went all these levels of Super Saiyan. They went God Super Saiyan, and they're like, oh, where do we go from here? So they went Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan.
Yeah,
That's
you
pretty
just
funny.
you get into God Super Saiyan, then you go Super Saiyan again, and you become even
Yes, literally yes.
so incredible.
It's nuts. It's pretty funny, though.
Or what's like Pokemon, where like bigger Pokemon, bigger Pokemon, and then they introduced
Mega Evolutions.
and
Gigantamax.
that one, and so it's just like
So yeah, in Pokemon there's Mega Evolutions, which is just one evolution. Then there's Gigantamax, where you make your Pokemon really big.
Oh my god.
And there's also like Terratypes, which is make your Pokemon another type.
But yeah, I think that anime and a lot of Japanese properties in that sense have the power scaling, while not being necessarily totally sensical. It's very fun.
yeah.
Oh, it's satisfying. Yeah.
It is. I think the thing that Tokyo Ghoul does have going for it, because it is a limited run thing where the manga is only X number of chapters long and the show is only. I like to think of it as like a 6-season show because that's what it could have been / should be if it was properly explored out. That's enough. That's a good length to have some wild power scaling, but not long enough to get to the insane power scaling of where do we go from here. You never find yourself in a position of what comes next power level wise, you know? Anyway, the other example of a Bikaku is a dude named Shachi, who is a very powerful Bikaku type ghoul. We see in the series, his Bikaku resembles a large orca tail. He is basically just a monk, is the simplest way to put it. He fights like a martial artist. He will like just fight in monk styles, and like
You gotta be clear because there are monkeys.
Yeah, there are monkey types as well. We see him like just use his tail to balance himself and sometimes swing around to protect himself, but a lot of the time he just punches you up.
I mean,
He has a
the
fight
tail
with-
is just there for distraction.
it's
I'm
the
gonna
ghoul.
punch you
It's
in
the
face.
ghoul. They're enhanced.
That's it. He's already strong, and then he's trained himself to be. Because the thing, like ghouls can still work out and get stronger. It's just their base level's higher.
It's like I like the idea like you're watching the tail and I'm watching your face with my fists.
That's it. Well, that's basically what we see, because we see, I mean, it's not really a spoiler for me to say, but we see Kaneki after he's like, thinks he's top shit because he got a bit more powerful, tries to fight this guy, and goes in with his Kagune trying to slice him up, and he just like effortlessly blocks it with his Kagune, and then just beats the shit out of Kaneki with
Just
his
raw
fist.
fists.
He just fucking, yeah.
One
Crazy
thing I respect
example.
about anime. I mean, there probably are animes that don't do this, but
Yeah.
from what I've seen, they don't hesitate to fucking humble their main character.
No. they
Oh
really,
yeah.
They
the main
humble-
character is not safe.
They get humbled
Well,
hard.
actually,
yeah.
pause. Their main character either is not safe or is completely untouchable.
Yeah, because like I know Ash loses in Pokemon a lot.
He does. He really does.
Ash only one like became the very best in like recently after like 20 years of
Yeah,
trying.
exactly.
Yeah, that's true.
Which
True.
is so funny.
Didn't he like save the world like a bunch
Oh,
of times in
he
between?
saves the world on a weekend. This is a weekend thing.
But he can't become
but
a
he
good
can't
player.
win.
But he keeps losing fights.
Incredible.
So the crazy example of Bikaku, the thing that we see that's probably the most wild one, is someone that turns himself into a giant fire-breathing titan. Moving on.
What?
Wait, what?
Hold the fuck up.
Tatara is a ghoul in charge of one of the major organizations in Tokyo Ghoul, but we'll get to that later.
We're literally gonna skip the fucking Godzilla
We're
boy.
skipping
So
the time.
chimeras is a type of Kagune that allows for multiple different types of Kagune to form. It happens when a ghoul has multiple Kakukos, both in different parts of their spine.
That makes sense.
It does.
Jinx.
Or you might see someone, because, yeah,
Touch a doorknob.
okay.
Not gonna do it. It's mid episode.
Yeah.
I just had that impulse. My older sister used to beat me up when I didn't do that.
Let's see. Half ghouls. one-eyed ghoul, also known as a half ghoul, is a human ghoul hybrid possessing ghoul's abilities.
I know that
So-
guy.
You know that guy?
I know that guy.
Yeah. So one-eyed ghouls earn their name, can you guess it, from only having one kaku gum present, and that is meaning that they only have one red eye when they go crazy. Some individuals are noted as having a unique scent that combines traits of human and ghoul, identifying them as different and sometimes enticing by certain ghouls.
Why is this? This is implied that it's happened more than once.
It happens more than once in the future.
Ah.
But Kaneki is shown to smell like a ghoul by some individuals, whereas some cannot tell the difference. And another half ghoul that we see in the show, Eto Yoshimura, has been shown to smell like a human largely. It is unknown whether all hybrids have this trait, as their flesh and blood is, however, always noted to be particularly delicious, making them a potential target for cannibalism and gourmets.
Sometimes you want that rare dish, you know?
How long does
Yes.
how many episodes deep do we get before Kaneki almost gets eaten? Well, actually, the first episode, but beyond that,
In the first 5.
excellent.
Yeah.
This is a ghoul eat ghoul world. You know what I
It
mean?
is a ghoul eat ghoul world,
It is a
especially when you
ghoul eat
taste
ghoul world out
good.
there.
So
Go piss
I'll-
ghoul.
just to fast track the rest of the one-eyed ghoul stuff, Kaneki is the first artificial one-eyed ghoul. However, the other one that we see fairly early on, Eto Yoshimura, is more answering the question of what happens when a ghoul and a human love each other.
Aww.
They fuck.
And they fuck, and you can, in rare cases, usually the child is unsuccessful. However, sometimes the child goes to labor. The way that this particular case manages to make it work is by the mother taking on basically becoming a cannibal and eating human flesh during the later stages of her pregnancy.
Was the mother a human?
She was a human.
This is very much like Twilight.
Yeah, so like Bella has to drink blood. doesn't
She drinks blood,
Yeah.
I also
and it's fucking horrible.
Yeah, it is.
I don't know if this is a spoiler or not, but I'm just intrigued because of a discrepancy between what you're saying and what I'm seeing on here. Eto and Yoshimura are being listed as two different things. Is that a
Yoshimura is a family name.
Yoshimura is the family name? Okay, so these are two. Okay, gotcha.
So there are two Yoshimuras.
Gotcha.
Eto, and I forget his actual name, but everyone calls him Yoshimura, is her dad, who is
Gotcha.
the ghoul that gave her the half ghoul part.
You
For sure,
you
bestie.
You ever heard of a last name guy?
It does, admittedly, from a...
She doesn't have that last name listed here. She doesn't have Yoshimura listed against her. She has Eto this thing, and then the Yoshimura's over here. So I'm just going off the image.
One thing that does always get... It's going to sound really shit of me, and I apologize to any diehard anime fans, but when you come from a very, 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 very Western cultural background, diving into anime where a lot of the time characters are referred to very interchangeably by their last name and first name, like Kaneki is called Kaneki the whole time, and then people will just start calling him Ken out of nowhere, and if you aren't fully aware of his full name because there's a lot of other characters being introduced, it can be really confusing. Unlike old bloke being called Yoshimura, and then someone calls his kid the different name and then says Eto Yoshimura, it's like, wait a second, why does he have his first name but it's not? Does that make sense?
Gotcha.
No,
No,
I
I
get it.
gotcha.
You called me Doyle the other day, and I was very confused.
That's true.
We called you that the whole way through high school.
Yeah, but Jude started again. It was like,
Yeah.
Another interesting thing as well, artificial one-eyed ghouls can only consume flesh of human or ghoul origin, like normal ghouls, and thus they are a strictly cannibalistic organism because they're either eating human and they're half human, or they're eating ghoul and they're half ghoul. So fucked either way, right?
I am a strictly cannibalistic organism.
Yes. However, natural one-eyed ghouls like Eto are able to taste and consume human food without negative effects.
Very nice. Hey.
Just pure upgrade.
Just be natural,
Do
basically.
they sit there
Natural
just
baby.
like flexing on everybody, just like enjoying an apple?
Yeah.
Yo,
Nice.
yeah.
I think she does a couple.
Just
on
sit in
point,
the
actually,
cafe,
yeah.
just like.
She definitely. She definitely
Mm.
she definitely is able to hide because she's also like a very famous person in the world.
What?
Obviously it's not known that she's a ghoul, but she's able to flit around in ghoul society and also stay in the public eye and be very dismissible as there's no way she could be a ghoul
Oh,
because
because
the first time you meet her, she's literally in the cafe eating a sandwich.
She also has a mother who is not a ghoul, and no one would think any otherwise.
Had a mother.
Oh.
Oh.
Well, okay, but she had a mother.
Yeah.
Sorry to break it to you.
So she's
Yeah.
dead.
But that's So that's it's a helpful thing.
No, fair enough. That's great.
I'm just thinking. The apple got me thinking. If I ever have threatened by ghouls, I think I'm just gonna cover myself in like syrup. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because if you
Right.
cover yourself in some sort of like syrup or something like that, they wouldn't like want to eat you.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, just
I would go with gravy personally.
gravy's a
would be
great
a
option
great one.
actually.
Because gravy's got like meat and fats and
It's
stuff.
also a
in it.
very distinct taste.
Oh
It is,
yeah.
yeah.
And it's a very rich taste.
Maybe they like gravy.
Yeah, you might find this gourmet that just is obsessed with you now.
Well,
That'd be pretty funny.
He it's like a weird thing where he doesn't love it. It's like oysters. It's a very like a refined taste.
well, they don't like human food, so I think the barbecue rub, if I just like put that on myself, that should ward them off, right?
Do you like the Jack Sparrow in the second movie when he's like got the cannibals find him and then he gets the paprika and goes like, hey, hey.
spicing himself up.
Yeah.
Do they like spices?
No.
They just raw dog fucking raw meat 24/7.
Yeah, no
pretty
tomato
much.
sauce.
That's a night. Well, I
That's
mean,
crazy.
no, they process the food differently though,
Yeah.
so I kind of get it.
Damn.
Anyway,
What does processed human taste like?
last thing we'll touch on with ghouls before we get into the CCG briefly. That is cannibal ghouls.
Yes.
This is called a kakuja.
Can I ask,
Mhm.
when you say eat a human,
Mhm.
do you eat the whole thing? Is there any parts they don't eat, like the bones?
They don't generally eat the bones,
They eat
but
the
then some
brain?
ghouls might snack on the bones.
Like,
we don't-
Eat the, eat
we
that
don't
marrow? The marrow
actually-
tastes great.
The thing I will say, I don't know for certain, we don't actually see that many full human consummations in, like, we don't see a lot of consumption. Sorry, consummation's a bit different. We don't see a lot of full consumptions of humans in the show.
Yes, that makes sense.
You more just see like a ghoul, a dead human body, and the ghoul's just like on
Yeah,
the side
cool.
of the body, or someone's eating like a pound of flesh that's been given to it, and that sort of thing.
Yeah, it's probably like a cow. There are cuts. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
There's better parts.
I think there
Um,
is a human butchering book out there
There
somewhere.
is, but you don't want to talk about that right now. I'm gonna talk
That's
about.
exactly what we're talking about.
Nope, I'm going to talk about kakujas because you guys fucking suck. So, kakuja is a type of ghoul with a transformed kagune that clads the ghoul's body like a suit of armor.
Oh, sick.
Though it is rare, it can occur, can only occur, but some may not occur, can only occur through repeated cannibalism.
Oh.
When a ward has a higher ghoul to human ratio, cannibalism is more common because of the turf wars and limited food supply. So ghouls are more likely to fight and eat ghouls, and this can lead to this. Sometimes the transformation is incomplete, as such individuals are called half kakujas. Their kakuja might be parts of armor, like a chest covering, a half helmet, etc. It is said that through cannibalism, a ghoul absorbs far more RC cells, and this increases the concentration of RC cells within their body. If the concentration becomes high enough, it may trigger a mutation that leads to the formation of this new, different kagune that covers their body. A kakuja can further evolve by continuing to cannibalize their own kind. For instance, while, as I mentioned earlier, the ghoul known as the One-Eyed Owl had a human shape and size before its disappearance, when it returned into society and scared everyone, it had a much larger and more monstrous form, giving it its classic name and appearance. Because this suit of armor becomes like this massive body that you're almost like...
a mech suit.
It's almost like a mech suit
like a
when
flesh
you really
mech.
get massively big. Yeah, exactly right. The transformation seems to be affected by psychological factors, as our main boy, Kaneki's Kakuja, takes the form of a centipede, resembling the red-headed Chinese centipede that is used to torture him at one point in his life, when it is put into his ear and rattles around inside his brain.
Can I say, one, I hated that when you started that sentence.
Yeah, 1.5. What the fuck?
I hated that when you ended that sentence way more.
Uh-huh.
That whole sentence was horrible.
Yep.
And can you stop?
Top to bottom review, 1 out of 5.
He gets tortured pretty bad.
Fuck.
Yep.
Also, I can't stop thinking, guy, what is a body but a flesh mech?
I was indicating. You said flesh mech, and I'm like, we're all flesh mechs.
In addition, Kaneki compares himself to a protagonist of a novel in book in world called The Metamorphosis, and this protagonist of this book turns himself into an insect-like creature while picturing a centipede in his mind. So Kaneki also kind of sees himself as that character, and that's why his Kakuja starts to take the form of like a big centipede and like insect-like mask covering.
I hate it. So
fucked.
the more you describe it, the
I
more
know,
I hate
I
it.
hit it.
The very hungry caterpillar.
This is where we get
I'm losing the gaze here.
This.
What? Sorry.
No,
I appreciate you want to keep going.
No.
What the fuck are you talking about?
I'm right.
Fucking hate you guys.
I'm right.
Fucking
No,
hate you
this was
guys.
an analogy for being gay, and I'm like, well, I'm losing that. now.
Okay, I see what you're talking about.
Okay.
You're
This.
so bad.
You just pick the worst points to interrupt.
Keep going. Keep going.
The Kakujas is where we get the wild fire-breathing dragon from.
What do you fucking mean?
It is a huge, monstrous Kakuja, resembling a dragon-like being and can breathe fire. It's basically like an extended form of the energy projectile that we see the Yukaku types using, but it comes out looking like fire due to this person's mental state and their hatred to its hunters.
That's fair enough.
So in the same way that the one-eyed owl creates like this massive suit of armor that's like almost like a mech thing made out of cells, whatever, almost resembles an owl, this dude just makes a massive dragon for himself.
Godzilla.
Yeah, it's pretty
Godzilla.
fucking silly. Oh my god! Like I said, this is getting into like the season 4 power escalation.
Does it have
things.
wings?
It doesn't fly.
So it's literally Godzilla. Or Godzilla.
Pretty much.
What?
So that brings us
Because its
to
original name, guy.
No, I know. It's just
that brings us to the humans that fight back.
yay,
Yo.
yay.
Yay!
Boring.
There's a question.
We
mark
like them.
there.
Matt?
I would actually like to know how the fuck humans what are going to do against these guys.
Matt, this quote is for you.
Are there ever any blood diseases that get like, you know, like,
They are not resistant to diseases. So
I get
yeah.
you'd have like bad disease. Like, is that a thing that comes up where they get diseases because they're throwing their blood at each other?
What the fuck do you? Of course, it doesn't come up.
Okay, well, I'm just talking about it.
Hey, also,
a question. I don't
very real quick question before this happens. Before this quote, a thing I forgot to ask: the sack. Does it? Is there an issue when they get too many? Does it displace things? Are they like lumpy?
Not that we see.
Okay, it just integrates.
It's a
I
great
think
question, actually.
it's biologically speaking, it's quite a small sac because it just processes a lot of cells. So to have too many that it would start displacing things, you'd be looking at like an insane amount, and the most we see is someone with like maybe 10.
Okay, no,
So-
all fair.
I mean, if they had enough, maybe.
It's just when you
but
started describing like an accessory, small sort of pocket, like on the top of the spine sort of area, I was getting little bits of flashbacks. So I
Yeah.
was like, I might as well inquire.
that's fair. Yep. Sorry for that.
Yeah, you had one.
Don't be sorry, it's fine.
You're
I was on so much ketamine, dude. It was fine.
You're going to become a ghoul with your
I
spinal
hope.
infection,
You are,
but then they
yeah.
took it away from
They
you.
did take it away.
They took
from
it
me.
away. They cut it
sucked
off.
it out.
So
The doctor came in like a snake bite.
yeah, that's it. So Matt, give us a Chad, but like not cringe Chad. Like he's gonna give us like almost a Superman sort of a Henry Cavill character.
A cool Chad.
Give us a Henry Cavill character. That's the best way I can think of it.
When the enemy is before you, fight, even if it costs you your life.
Perfect. And this brings us to the CCG Special Investigators, otherwise known as the Commission of Counter Ghoul.
The what? CCC?
CCG. Commission of Counter Ghoul. Yep.
Card collecting group.
Yep. You got an eye twitch again. Congrats. The CCG is sort of like the FBI mixed with the Special Forces mixed with the police. It is a federal agency that serves as a criminal investigative body in cases connected to ghouls. The Ghoul Countermeasures Law was the legal foundation for the CCG's prosecution of ghouls, and their main headquarters is in the First Ward of Tokyo. The ghouls commonly call the ghoul investigators doves, a nickname originating from the CCG seal and their trademark white suits that they are always wearing when they go out killing ghouls.
That's a fucking terrible uniform.
Uh-huh.
White suits
Yep.
to fight the blood demon monster creatures.
Well,
God,
then you come home, you got some red on you, and you're like, look, I fought one.
It's true.
Got him.
I
mean, that
killed
would-
a couple ghouls today, baby.
couple-
I will
Yeah.
say that would be really good as like an anime visual intimidation tactic if like there's a bunch of white suited people and then
Yep.
the big guy comes out and he's got a full red suit. That'd fuck.
Yeah.
That'd fuck
Or
real hard.
you also just be
does.
like, I'm so confident in my job, I don't think I'm going to get a single bit of blood on me.
Yeah, that is.
That's why you wear white.
So the ghoul countermeasures law and related legislation, contain provisions for the handling of ghouls. So basically, the main thing is it outlaws ghouls. Just all ghouls are outlawed.
No ghouls.
No ghouls.
Take your ghoul elsewhere. Can I say ghoul is a very fun word to say?
It is. Ghouls.
As ghouls and goblins,
Get your ghouls, get
set-
out.
get your ghouls on.
It
Good golly ghouls.
sets the requirement standards for ghoul identification, outlines procedures of a confirmed ghoul, includes ghoul prosecution conduct, defines the employee duties of the CCG staff, adds the protocols of punishment for human involvement in ghoul affairs. This doesn't sound authoritarian at all or bad, does it? There's nothing bad about this. I'll quickly spitfire
I will say
through.
they do eat humans.
Yeah, this is true.
It's interesting the morals are putting on that they do eat people.
They do. It
which is not a good thing.
But also, they have to eat people or they die.
yeah, but
They
surely
have to do it, man. Have some sympathy.
if a serial killer said, "I have to kill people or I'm going to die," I
It's
think
different though.
I
Ren's
don't
Mayo,
know.
Men's Rea. Oh my god, I got them wrong.
Ren's
Men's Rea.
Ren's Mayo.
State of mind at the time of the incident.
I feel like you could work out a pact to like, here, eat our dead people who die, and yeah, people would be upset for a couple years. People get used to it, but like, oh, it's a rough situation.
Yep. Well, the CCG comes out of ghouls just kind of appear one day.
I was going to ask that.
From a society point of view, obviously there's more to it than that I won't talk about today because it's just changing. It just changes the goalpost a bit too much.
Let me guess, science experiment.
Let me guess, out of a cave.
No comment. And then the CCG is kind of formed to counteract. Hey, we're losing a lot of people to these creatures. We need to fight back against them. So the known articles, there's a lot of articles. We only know a few of them for sure. There's, I think, probably somewhere close to 200 articles in the legislation. Obviously, I'm not going to sit here and read a whole thing.
Come on, read
So-
legislation to
Read us legislation, dude.
please,
So-
dude.
The preamble is: peace is valuable above all else, and members of the Commission of Counter Ghoul shall spare no effort in its preservation. Article 12, that we know: a species against which special precautions should be taken, known as ghouls, are distinct in that it is confirmed they can produce kakugan and kagune. In relation to the subjects distinguished as ghouls, there are no laws that protect these individuals. So they are just, you can do whatever you want to them as a society, and
This
you don't
is-
have any legal
That's
consequences.
not
Legal.
the best rule.
No, it's not, is
Yeah.
it? I'm sure there's no one in the group, in the investigative guild, that does anything bad ever to ghouls.
And I'm wait. So hold on. It's
It is a
How-
written article of their legislation that ghouls have no laws to protect them, basically.
okay. What is their classification of a ghoul?
Can produce a kakugan, can produce a kagune.
Okay, that
That's
makes
what I
sense.
said in that one.
No,
Yeah,
fair
yes,
enough.
Yeah.
No, I was just wondering if there
No,
was
it's okay.
like a specific like loophole that the main character gets through because he's technically half ghoul.
No, that's true. That's
Are
it's a
there-
fair question.
Are there? It's interesting because like animals are seen as like more important than ghouls.
Yep, That's
Are
true.
there
is it.
ghouls
Mhm.
that are like all biological ghouls, but they can't produce a
Kakugan?
gun?
Not naturally.
Okay, but have you seen like maybe if you cut out your little part, your little organ sac?
We don't. I believe that their eyes would still turn.
Oh, okay. Oh, I forgot that's
Because
like
the
part of it.
Kakugan's one. Yeah, they would lose their Kagune, but their Kakugan
Just cut
would
out my
still-
eyes.
Yeah. Just cover your eyes, yeah.
Cut out my
Oh,
eyes.
fucking hell. Article 13. The ghoul investigators have the duty to make the safety of civilians their highest priority. It is prohibited to cause more pain to a ghoul than necessary.
Good.
Oh, okay. So that's a good rule.
But also, what's necessary?
yeah, they're not going to fucking lose to that.
No, I needed to torture this ghoul to make his other friends come out of hiding.
Yeah.
Would be a very easily, more than fairly passable remark, you know?
Yeah.
He insulted me. He deserved.
Article 88. Persons harbouring or otherwise preventing the arrest of a ghoul will be severely punished.
Yeah.
Sound familiar? Article 119 declares human involvement in harbouring or preventing the arrest of a ghoul an offence punishable by the death penalty.
Yeah.
Yep. This is sounding
Bad,
a
huh?
lot less like Japan and a lot more like another country another time.
Uh-huh. So, the personnel who works at the CCG, they employ two different types of investigators. The main one that we follow the story of a lot are ghoul investigators. They are employed at the CCG's main office and carry out the actual investigations and capture suspects. They are often assigned to carry out investigations in one of Tokyo's 20 wards, and only ghoul investigators are permitted to be armed with quinquets.
Ghoul investigators.
Ghoul investigators.
Quinquets.
Quinquets? We will get to that.
Lovely.
Shortly. Very, very shortly.
Lovely.
Bureau investigators are the lower ranks. They are basically the paper pushers and backup ghoul investigators when necessary in the field. Most of them are employed at CCG's branch offices in different wards. From here, you can go into an academy and attempt to become a ghoul investigator. They're basically like your entry point grunts that can form up loads of soldiers behind the main ghoul investigators if they need them.
You might get into this, so just shut me up if you're going to get into it. Is there a test you can do to be like, you're a ghoul?
No.
So what's stopping ghouls just going to this and infiltrating this whole system?
It's a great question that definitely may not or may happen during the show.
I think I just found a plot point.
Plot
point.
Yeah, very much so. You don't necessarily see a ghoul become an investigator. But you do see you don't necessarily see a ghoul specifically infiltrate to become an investigator, but you do see ghouls approach investigators and get information out of them, pretending not to be a ghoul, and become friends of them, pretending not to be a ghoul, to get inside scoops and stuff.
Okay, it'd be interesting to see.
Yeah,
like, why wouldn't? I mean, you'd get all the scoop and just spill it. You'd just be a really good snitch.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
There's someone working for it.
So then you hit the ranks. So we'll start at the bottom, the junior investigators. So rank 3 investigators, bureau investigators can enter at this rank, basically. So the basic bitches. This is kind of like before going to formal training at the academy. Rank 2, also known as third class. It's confusing. This is the rank at which almost all ghoul investigators begin their career after graduating from the academy. Rank 1, also known as second class, the highest rank of a junior investigator, having gained experience but not yet at the peak of their career. On average, rank 1 investigators are around 27 years old when they get to this rank.
All right. Rank 1, but class 2.
Second class, but
second
rank
class,
1.
rank 1. Okay, cool.
And that is because the lowest tier of senior investigator, so now we go into the senior levels, they are a first class investigator.
That's a lot of training. Like
it is
27. You're not even like the full thing.
You're basically just a newbie still.
Yeah, that's
this is
really
like
good.
So rank 2 investigator is like being rank 3 is you can go to uni if you want, or you can just work here. Rank 2 investigator is you've just gone to uni and you're doing your grad year. Rank 1 is you've completed your grad year. Let's see how you go. Getting to first class investigator is like, all right, you're in a good role now.
Okay.
Also known as senior investigator, with most investigators achieving this rank later in their career. It is typical for an investigator to not get any higher than this rank and simply live out until retirement here. Their responsibilities are typically training a junior partner, so they're usually partnered with a rank 1 or rank 2 investigator. Very few investigators move beyond here, and reaching it before their 30s is considered the mark of an exceptional investigator. So if you get to this rank and you're like 29, you're insane.
Nice.
Like insanely talented.
Mm-hmm.
Then we get to Associate Special Class Investigator, also known as Assistant Special Investigators. They are the second highest rank of the CCG, achieved by a small percentage of investigators. They possess the authority to command operations or oversee individual wards as necessary. And then you get the top level, which is Special Class Investigator, the highest possible rank achieved by the smallest percentage of investigators. They are considered the strongest of all and typically command an entire ward, as well as large operations that they'll be in charge of and then assign out different soldiers beneath them.
What do you mean by the strongest of all?
They have just proven themselves and are just the best fighters.
Okay. It's interesting. It's interesting to put it like that because, like, in a lot of like business, after working in the real world, all like the you wouldn't see as the manager, the guy who's in charge of everything, as being like the person who's good at the work. Most of the time, the people are doing the work, and the manager's just like wouldn't be the most technical person on the team. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
they're just good at managing people and project management.
The big thing about it, and the reason why they are that, is because to get to that rank, the thing is, if you're living as a ghoul investigator, you are fighting creatures that are biologically superior to you in every possible way, pretty much every day of your working life. If you retire at an investigator rank, cool. But if you're making it to that upper level, you've been there for a while and you've been around, like, you must be insanely good, is the point.
Are these people also still on the front lines? Or are they like...
They are still... They will fight in the front lines, but they'll also command operations.
Okay.
But they do step into the fray to fight.
For like the most important missions.
And that brings us to what the CCG use, which is... Yes?
No, it's all good. I just wanted to cut. I just didn't know when to pause you. But I might be reading a little bit too much into anime tropes, but the mentions of age on these various things makes me believe, just taking a swing in the dark, is there a special investigator who's like 25? Yeah, of course there is. I fucking knew it.
Of course there is.
Of course there is.
The investigator that we follow, because you get the thing that is like the story arc of the first 2 seasons, which is really good, and I think it's probably one of my favorite parts of the show through the first 2 seasons. You get a bloke named Detective Amon, who that quote Matt said at the start is from, and you follow his journey from rank 1 investigator into special investigator. And you see his progression from like a junior into a senior, kind of paralleled with Kaneki's story as he goes further into the Ghoul Society. So you see them kind of progressing in their various things and then continuing to bash heads with each other and fight until they have one big climactic fight in season 2.
We're not so different, you know.
Yeah, well, that very much so.
Do the ghouls ever pay off the cops?
Not that we see, but I mean, I'm sure.
You're
it
like,
happened.
hey, I'll let you. Hey, we don't kill people that much. How about we give you the?
I gotta be honest. The morals and the moral spectrum of this show are already complex enough without adding corruption into the mix.
We know where this guy who kills a lot of people will be. You can have him.
Yeah. So the rating of ghouls is set through the CCG and how they see the ghouls, rather than it being a biological thing. And I'll talk briefly on them. So you start at the bottom with a C-rated ghoul. So they are a ghoul of smaller ability, and they are pretty much a ghoul that can't fight, and any ghoul investigator can take them on pretty easily. B-rated.
You see ghoul, you kill it.
Yeah. B-rated is comparable to a rank 1 or rank 3 investigator. These ghouls have their Kagune mastered and are usually a small threat to the CCG.
They're being a small threat.
They are being a small threat. Then you get the A-rated ghouls. They're comparable to first-class investigators. These ghouls are usually set as a target, and some ghouls might develop a second tail or tentacle. So you start to get a little bit more strong.
They are a target.
They are.
I was thinking the exact same thing.
Then you get the S- rated. They are the equivalent of an average associate special class investigator, approximately, because it depends on investigator to investigator. But if you're versing an S-rated ghoul, you're in trouble. Then you get the S+ rated ghoul. They are the equivalent of an average special class investigator. There's still 2 more ranks of ghoul beyond this, and we've already reached the top rank of investigator.
Well, I know at least the investigators know where they're at.
Yep. Double S rated.
Being realistic.
Double S rated generally means you need multiple special class investigators, and there are not a lot of these guys around. So if a double S rated ghoul comes along, you're in trouble. And then you get triple S rated, which we only know like 2 or 3 of from the whole series, and their criteria is unclear. Basically, good luck, everyone.
Avoid.
I think one moment when you see one of these triple S rated ghouls come forward, he doesn't even start fighting. He just basically flies in and lands so his ghouls can get away, and everyone just stops. And then there's like an announcement that says, anyone that doesn't want to fight should leave. Know that if you stick around, you'll probably die, but we need someone to fight him to keep him busy.
How do they know? Do they have like a scanner thing that scans?
No,
and
it's
goes,
more...
Have a little green eye thing
You
that goes
only-
down. It's triple S rated.
He's triple S.
So it's next thing I'm talking about. In addition to the ghoul's individual ability, it is the damage caused and the strength shown of the ghoul that is being evaluated. So the rating is set in consideration to the ghoul itself, not anything biological, but more because they keep like ongoing files of every seen ghoul or known ghoul. If a ghoul pops up for the first time, they don't know what it is. It's only when they start to see reoccurring ghouls that they're like, this person is A-rated. Oh shit, they've just done this. This ghoul's just gone up to S-rated.
Well,
It's more of a floating
They
rank
really need to
system.
adjust their ratings because they got to S and they had minus S, they have plus S, they have plus plus S, and then plus 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 S. Just shift the alphabet down. You know what I mean?
Yeah, double
Probably
S.
should, hey?
Um,
They've got S in the wrong position as well.
S is top.
Yeah, I know. He just did not get that at all, did he?
I also
Super.
think it's interesting that like
Supreme.
because their Kagune is like recognizable, and they
Yep.
also don't they wear are they,
They wear
wearing
masks. Yep.
But they're like they wear the same mask.
Usually,
Okay.
yeah.
Is there a bit where one time they swap masks?
Yeah, but their Kagunes are usually identifying.
I was going to
enough
say
that
your Kagune is kind of impossible to escape.
it might throw the investigator for a minute, but the second, and because I mean, any like higher senior investigator is spending so much time studying files and reading up on ghouls that are known in their ward, and even other wards that like, if they see a Kagune, like if you're a ghoul that's in any way, shape, or form strong, you're gonna get known pretty quickly, and your Kagune is gonna be detailed, and as soon as they see it again, they go, oh. The rabbit ghoul changed its mask to a badger. Let's just update that.
Yeah, nice.
So
I like the idea that someone would lose a fight and run away, one of the investigators, and be like, "Man, that was like a triple S. That was like he had like 6 tails." I'm sure.
yeah, that was insane, guys. I was lucky to get out. I think I should get a promotion.
The guy, it was his first day as a ghoul. I love that idea. They just submitted him in.
100%. So now we're going to talk weapons. How the hell can humans fight back against these
Yes,
very
this is what we
vastly
need to know.
superior creatures?
Gun.
And how can they be in a position
gun.
where ghouls aren't just the dominant species? Well, at some stage, humans discovered that by taking discarded RC cells and Kagune, weapons could be developed that would let you hurt a ghoul despite their skin.
Oh.
So I'm going to send Guy a quote. Give me a maniacal and very creepy, dirty man.
Creepy, dirty, maniacal.
Take it away, dirty man.
No, not there. That's too high. Oh, as long as it's for the right cause, there's nothing wrong with playing dirty. That's
And that is...
sexual.
Yeah, it is, huh? So first off,
Still very high.
Q
What was higher
bullets.
than that?
Well, I was going to go full on, like, as long as it's for the right cause. Like, crazy wizard, but no. I
So
pulled
first
back.
off in weapons...
Q bullets.
Q bullets.
Q bullets.
Guns.
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 No, really, guns.
Gun is the correct option.
I
Gun
agree.
is the
That's all we said.
So, Q bullets are bullets that are melted with, made with melted down Kagune coating. So bits of RC cells and Kagune. However, because the material can only be acquired from ghouls, it's kind of rare, the coating itself is moderately thin. There is a bullet type for each respective Kagune. They are adequate when used against any ghoul, but they are more effective if used against the... So if you're using like an Ukaku bullet against an Ukaku ghoul, it's going to pierce their skin easier than
Oh, so they have different. The cells are slightly different.
the cells are
Anyway.
slightly different because it's the cells that have been processed and produced by the Kakuo.
How does it work when they have 2 different ones?
Both will be effective.
Oh, so having both actually makes you more weak.
Yeah, but you
Two
also
Q
have
bullets,
multiple Kagunes, so you're
Yeah,
gonna...
I agree,
Yeah.
but it also makes you more weak to more bullets.
Yeah, exactly.
The less bullets that I'm weak to is the better, guy.
In saying that, we do not see a lot of ghouls, especially like the stronger ghouls that aren't just like the low B rated. We don't see a lot of them ever struggle to fight people with Q bullets. Q bullets are far from. It doesn't go, my gun that cannot normally penetrate your skin can now penetrate your skin. You're just a human now to me. It is nowhere near that effective. The Q bullets don't always work. They're unreliable. They can penetrate, and if you get a ghoul and pin them down and like empty a magazine into them, you might kill them. But they're still regenerative. They're still strong. They're still heightened in strength.
Yeah.
It's tough, and good luck getting them to that space. And they're normally just faster than humans anyway, so good luck landing a hit on them.
I guess it's like man versus bear against man with bat versus bear. It's like, I think the man with bat's gonna have a better chance.
Maybe man with sword versus bear.
Okay, for sure. But even then, like man with sword, it's like, yeah, he's got a better chance.
Yeah.
He's still
Exactly.
fighting a bear.
That's what I mean. Like, it's a better chance, but it's still a fucking bear.
Yeah.
That's
Also,
exactly.
with the Q bullet thing, it like that feels like ye olde steel type blood in the.
Yep.
Yeah.
Once again, there's a lot of marathons that have that theme, right?
There's a
We've,
lot.
we've been talking that a lot lately.
Yeah.
It's,
Our blacksmith friends are gonna love
We're
it.
in our blacksmith era.
This is a blood and metal era.
Yeah.
I like the idea.
He's processing.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
fuck.
See the, I can see the what are the
Cogs turning.
I'm just thinking. I feel like machine guns in this wouldn't work, especially because they can see it coming. They can block with their big powers. They can regenerate very quickly. I feel like the way to go with these kind of bullets, and I might be onto something here, but we'll see. I feel like the way to go is a sniper rifle, very big bullet, pretty much guaranteed to go through the skin, take them by surprise so they can't block or dodge, kill their brain, hit them in the brain.
We definitely see this effect.
I feel like that is the most effective thing.
The problem is,
big bullets.
yeah, 100% that we do see that be very effective. The problem is more that usually you end up having to fight ghouls close up because
You're in Tokyo.
You're in Tokyo.
There's no Tokyo. There's not many open spaces in
that's
Tokyo.
the thing. It is all set within Tokyo pretty much exclusively. And a lot of the time, because so much of it is investigative and you're trying to find secretive ghouls, it's not often that you're going to have the opportunity to do that.
Yeah.
The few times we see it come up, it just like, oh shit, that ghoul's just dead.
Got him with a fucking 9mm bullet to the brain.
Yeah. But now we're going to talk about the crazy one that is kind of what gives Tokyo Ghoul the classic feel of it, and that is the Quinkeis. So Quinkeis are the weapons used by CCG operatives of senior rank or more, so anyone that is not the junior ranks. And this is a weapon that has been taken from the dead body of a ghoul. Basically, you rip out their kakuho and turn it into a cool toy.
Bad
What do
wording.
you mean?
But go on.
You rip out their RC sack and turn it into a weapon.
You take their sack and you wield it against them.
Literally. So this means that we see ghoul Kagune types reflected as Quinkei in the hands of humans. So the Quinkei emits an electrical signal that stimulates the Kakuho to release and control its RC cells in the same way that it would have when it was a ghoul's Kagune. Sorry, you're looking.
No, it's all good. I'm just
I'm just
pulling-
You already,
I'm-
if you go back to
he's
your
already got it
images,
wrong.
if you go back to your images, that is all of those bottom ones. But a lot of those bottom ones,
Oh,
that's all Quinkei. A lot of them. Well,
These ones or these ones?
that row. That's all.
Oh,
Quinkei.
the weapons. Okay.
I was just wondering what they look like and
Yeah.
kind of stuff. So
They're
it's very,
anything.
it's very. Would they be like tentacles?
Some of them are.
But
It
they're-
depends on what Kagune they were based
Okay.
off of.
Are they exactly the same as what they stole?
Just let me keep reading my script, man.
No.
So they can be made into. So I'm actually going to cut here and just go back because I was like mid sentence. So the Quinkei.
Try it again, man.
Yep.
We can cut. What's the time? Just
There you go.
2:01.
Meat stick.
2:01. Okay, you ready, dude? Sorry for interrupting.
Yeah. So the electrical signals. So the Quinkei. Honestly, I'll just start with that. The Quinkei emits electrical signal that stimulates the Kako and releases it in the RC cells. They can be made into some type of melee or ranged weapon, but most retain a few characteristics from the original Kagune. In contrast to Kagune, Quinkei cannot change shape nor store or absorb RC cells other than what it was harvested, other than the harvested ghoul that it was made from. So you can try to repair a broken Quinkei by using RC cells from another ghoul of that type, but if it breaks mid-fight, you're just kind of fucked.
Okay, fair enough.
Preceding the Quinkei, it was just the Q bullets. So the Quinkei was a insanely good creation, and it was made solely to exterminate ghouls. Quinkei were considered the new generation of technology, promptly and effectively raising the extermination rate. Joys. Ghoul investigators transport them in bags or suitcases to store the Kagaho itself, and some investigators are known to collect multiple Quinkei, and others aspire to master only one. To attain a Quinkei, an investigator must first confirm their target's RC type before exterminating them. So you have to watch to see. You aren't able to identify a Kakuho or RC type from its dead body. But if you see it fighting and you can register the type that it's using, then you can kill it, tell the scientist, hey, it's this type, and they can go, sweet, we'll make you a good Quinkay, man.
Nice.
Why couldn't they tell the type from just knowing where the sack is?
Bodies get messed up, man. And also, like, the two that are in the upper back, it's hard to tell that apart when you're looking at a dead body, you know?
It's also probably ideal to kill a ghoul before it gets its Kagune out, because otherwise...
That's fair, but come on, scientists.
Come on,
Yeah.
scientists.
Well,
Figure
I
it
mean,
out.
you're
Figure
right.
it out.
Do they have problems with unidentified sacks?
Yeah.
Nice. Also,
I mean, if it's an unidentified sack, they'll just use it to make Q-bullets.
do we see a raw unidentified sack or raw sack like during the show?
No, we do not.
I'm sorry. Are you not taking this seriously? Get your act together, man.
I'm so sorry.
So, are they just like bloody meaty sacks?
Who knows?
Okay.
We
We
don't
don't see one.
We
We
don't
don't
see
know
one.
size them. That's why
No, I
don't
know. I was
size
just
them.
asking if Jude knew.
No, we don't see one.
For these weapons, do they ever run out? Like the other ones can run out and disintegrate if you're using too long.
Not without being broken.
Okay.
No. So it makes one weapon, and then you continue fighting with that weapon.
Yeah.
So afterwards, once they've harvested the Kakuho from a dead ghoul and turned it into a weapon, it is common to name the Quinkay from the ghoul's name or alias.
That's kind of fucking rude.
So if the ghoul was named the One-Eyed Owl's name that I've thrown out there a lot, if you made a Quinkay from that ghoul after defeating it, you might call that weapon the Owl, for example.
No, I love that. It's like when you kill a big beast in D&D and then you call the weapon you make out of it.
That's
its
it.
name.
It's very messed up fantasy. It is hard to say exact examples, as I am basically just going to be... It would just turn into me going on big rants about the series that don't make a lot of sense out of context. But we can see Kukaku Kagane make massive swords or huge clubs. Ukaku Kagane make projectile weapons, the extreme cases of these seeming to be like lightning projectile guns. So like a big fucking energy blast weapon. Rinkaku can make flexible whip-like weapons, and Bikaku can make needlessly large weapons that still maintain balance and weightlessness. Big anime sword moment.
Wow, yeah. Yeah, the club that we're looking at here, you describe it as a club. It does look like meat on stick. It looks like a big roll of meat. I'm getting delicious in Dungeon Dragon meat
It
vibes.
looks like a kebab stick.
It does. It looks... I wouldn't... Listen, I walk into a Turkish shop, I see that rotating on the spit, I'm ready for a good meal.
That's it.
I thought it looked like an icy pole.
That's
That
also...
too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It looks a
yeah.
little bit silly, but honestly, we're only seeing it in stillness.
It's probably my least favorite one of the whole show.
Okay,
It's
that
pretty.
does make
It looks pretty shit.
It looks...
But the guy using it looks pretty
the
fucking
guy
sick.
using it looks sick.
So that's one of the main dudes I'm on. That's like one of the
Nice.
main
Nice.
perspective characters. Yeah.
So does he use that for a while?
No.
Okay, good.
He ranks up pretty quickly and gets way cooler stuff.
Excellent, cool. Because he currently has.
That's
meat
when he's
stick.
like that's when he's like a junior rank and he's got a master training him up.
And he already has a Quinkay?
Yeah.
I thought it was only for the
No,
seniors.
sorry, not a junior rank, but one of the more junior ranks
Of the senior ranks.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
There's so many ranks, my man.
There are.
It
It was a bad choice of words for me.
Nah, it's all right.
We'll touch briefly on two Quinkay variations. So there is the Chimera Quinkay, which is rare, but a Quinkay can be fused from ghouls with Chimera Kagune, or multiple Kagunes. The most notable of these chimeras belongs to an investigator named Akira Mado, and she named it Amatsu. It functions as a combined Kukaku and Bikaku style as one weapon, so it has like a spiked sword on it, but then also has like a flexible whip-like side as well, so she can use it as like two multiple.
So the flexible whip comes from like the tentacles?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
So she can use like multiple things. It's kind of cool. Then Chimera Quinkay are very useful for opposing multiple types of ghouls, though it is unknown if any combination of RC type is possible or can occur naturally, as chimeras are very, very rare and we don't see a lot of these Quinkay. So it's kind of hard to say if different types work better or worse with each other, but the few that we see are very useful.
Fair enough.
with the wing type ones.
With the yeah.
So fucking mean, dude.
Sorry.
He's asking you a question. What's going on, guys? What's the vibe in here?
Holy shit! Damn.
Damn, guys. All
I
right,
was-
reset.
I was just trying to vibe with you. I wasn't
No,
trying
I'm
to
not
be
fucking
mean to
attack.
you.
That was an
I
attack.
was trying to just
I was
vibe.
trying to ask a fucking question. I'm trying to relate with your topic that you're bringing me on a silver platter, and I'm enjoying it. I want to relate with it. And
I was trying to vibe along.
I'm sorry.
I want to be very clear to listeners. We have all known each other for an extremely long time. None of this means anything, but we're a
Fuck
little,
you.
we're a little silly mode right now.
Um,
we're all having too much water. We're having too much fun.
There's too much water. But question: it's been a long day.
Mhm.
The wings,
Uh-huh.
how do they come into it? Can you like wear the wings, or does
No, so they make more of the
Ooh.
projectile gun type. Okay.
you
It's
have
like
a
the
gun
imagery.
version?
Yeah.
Hey, why does
Holy
not everyone just have a
That's
gun
fucking
quick?
amazing. I want
I
that.
I know it's because they're probably harder to get.
I want the gun version.
No, honestly, it's because a gun's cool and useful until the Rinkaku monk dude bounces around your shots, gets up into your face, and's like, "Hi."
Yeah, but I don't think my sword's
Hi.
going to do anything better than that, man.
I mean, then you can fight them.
I want the gun. Give me the gun.
Oh yeah, I mean, fair enough, honestly.
Give me the gun.
We kind of see the people that have like the Yukaku type Queen K, we see them being really useful until they're not.
That's fair.
Like as soon
That's
as you
fair.
get like 6 ghouls that rush you and you shoot 2 of them down, there's 4 of them. You need someone with like a Kukaku type Queen K to go in and just like fucking fight them basically.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
The flip side of another one that I mentioned, so you remember I was talking about the Kakujars, the big like cannibal weird creation armor things?
Yes.
What happens when we
flesh
turn
mechs.
that into a Queen K?
Ah.
You get something called an Aratar. Which is kind of fucked up
Aratar.
that they're called Aratars, because the reason that they are called Aratars is because the first ghoul to ever be turned into one, his name was Aratar. So they named the whole weapon type after his dead body.
I mean, bad, but also,
Interesting.
yeah.
They are
one way to
Kakuja
think.
ghouls that have been turned into a Quinke, but it basically takes the form of a suit of armor that lets humans become significantly stronger, faster, and more durable. But as the humans start to push these suits to their limits, they do start to literally eat bits of their flesh away.
Not surprised.
Oh, eat bits of their own flesh.
Yep.
Oh, that's terrifying.
Yep. So
put
you kind
yourself
of have
in
to
the
be careful.
Big blood armor.
You put yourself in the big blood armor
Flesh
that's
mech,
still
flesh
half alive, and
Flesh
yeah.
mech.
Yeah.
Well, they have little mouths.
It
We've
is-
seen others have little mouths.
Yeah.
So they probably have little mouths on the
They got
inside.
little tiny
That's
nibblers.
it. It is literally the furthest point of fight fire with fire.
Who did they like? The first guy to get in this is he on board with this, or were they like
They
using
were.
prisoners, or was he just
Hey-
just like the flesh mech? Absolutely,
Hey,
chief.
guy-
The first
Hey, man.
we see the first time they get used in the show, and they're really nervous about it,
Okay,
and then they kind of get high on the power drive of it because it's the equivalent of switching on a Steve Rogers level power buff of going from normal person to Steve Rogers, you know?
yeah.
So they suddenly get like really high on the power drive of it, and then it starts to eat a little bit of them, and they're like, "Oh fuck!" and then they have to stop.
Never mind.
Yeah.
I feel like these guys are very almost indoctrinated into like this serving. They're very like
Oh, I mean-
military, very like serving the guy. I'm doing this. It's gonna be the best. I want to upgrade. I want to do my best. You know.
That's
So
it.
just to go back to that quote, when the enemy is before you, fight, even if it costs you your life.
That's what
I
I'm
think there's a
saying.
little
That's what
bit of
I'm-
indoctrination.
We
what I'm
see
saying.
the other theme that we see
Get in
explored
the
a lot
mech
in
suit.
Tokyo Ghoul. Obviously, we're not here to rant about the writing. I'm here to rant about the world and the lore. But one of the core themes of the show is trauma and how people deal with trauma, how trauma is passed down from generations, all sorts of fun stuff, right? And with the CCG, a lot of the trauma that they play out in the series is survivor's guilt. And that's where a lot of because pretty much everyone that survives their first mission as a CCG operative, they've lost friends either side of them. And they're now crippled with the thing of, if I had fought a bit harder, maybe I would have killed that ghoul before he killed my friend. That's why they end up, as soon as they get anywhere past like the junior ranks, they're going to have that mentality of, I just need to fight to protect my friends.
Damn.
Yeah.
It's also, and not that I know that much about Japanese culture, but I know Japanese culture is very much like respectful of your elders, respectful of like station.
Yeah.
It's very respectful of that, and you don't step out of that.
Exactly.
Even if you totally believe it's wrong, you don't kind of step out of that. So that's more.
Very much so.
Yeah.
Very much so.
So if your boss tells you to get in that mech suit, flesh mech,
you get in the flesh
Get in
mech.
the
flesh mech.
They're actually pretty high ranks that do it, but yeah.
still have a boss probably.
Yeah. It has commonly been shown to function as armor, so just literally suit of armor, protecting and enhancing the capabilities. So far, it is not. It seems to not be sustainable for too long. We don't have an exact time, but probably like 20 minutes of really pushing it, and then it might start to eat you. You don't just like immediately die. It's more like you'll start to get a few small cuts and grazes across your body, and then if you keep going, you might start to have some blood drained, and then if you keep going forever, you might like start to take irreversible damage done to your body.
20 minutes. I was thinking when he said it maybe a couple days. 20 minutes is not long at all.
No, but like active, like you can wear it and it's fine, and
Active
it'll function
use.
as a suit of armor, but like actively enhancing your strength level of use.
Yeah.
So, despite the vast majority of Kakuja Quinkeis taking the form of armor, there have been several instances of Kakuja Quinkeis taking on more offensive forms, such as blades. So, aside from being potent melee weapons, these Quinkei also retain special traits from the original Kakuja, such as ranged projectiles or detachment abilities or advanced Kagune formation.
There's a lot of cars going on.
There's a lot of cars. Basically, Kakujas aren't just one thing. The Kakujas that we see aren't just suits of armor, so sometimes it turns into other things, and it'll keep traits from whoever was using it.
I mean, one could breathe fire.
Exactly. I'd
mean,
love
they
to see what they make out of him.
They seem extremely flexible.
Yep.
Yeah.
The majority are basically it is the idea of you have unlocked that cool ability. What happens if I kill you and steal it? Is the simplest way I can put it.
Absolutely.
The majority of known Kakuja Quinkeis were harvested from the Kagune of the person I was saying before, Arata Kirishima, and we see them used by two particular operatives, Yukinori Shinohara and Iwayu Kuroaya. I cannot pronounce his name.
Absolutely, bestie.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, everyone. Yes.
Names are hard.
Names are hard.
Especially names in languages you don't speak.
Quinkei really show one of the scarier parts of the show and world. If you are part of the ghoul community and you are being hunted by the CCG repetitively and they get one of your friends, you might find that next time you face the CCG, you can see a literal part of your friend being used as a weapon in their hands.
Yeah, that's gonna be bad for the psyche.
So, for example, if we like the immediate introduction to the CCG or the doves, if you will, in this show is they're hunting down a family. They manage to catch and kill the dad/husband, and then when they eventually corner the mum and daughter, he whips out his new Quinkei, and she's like, "Oh my god, that's my husband," not knowing that he'd been caught and killed.
Oh no.
Yeah,
Damn.
you get a lot of that, and like, holy fuck, that's my long lost father, and you're wearing him, that sort of thing.
Jesus.
Yep.
Holy fuck.
It's really fucked up.
It's heavy. That's good.
Yeah.
Listen, you got to have some conflict in
You
there.
dare use my own family against me, Potter.
Yep. That's it. So the last thing we're going to touch on, lucky last, is at the beginning I threw in a term relating to Tokyo Ghoul RE, and that was Quinks.
Uh-huh.
Twinks, sorry.
Not Twinks. I mean, they are Twinks, but they're known as Quinks. A Quinks is a human or half-human with a restrained kakuho installed into their body, making them nearly a half-ghoul. Since Quinks are able to produce a kagune, they can potentially be mistaken for ghouls or one-eyed ghouls. Quinks are very similar to one-eyed ghouls in that they can only develop one kakugun, so one red eye, and in contrast to the normal ghouls, however, only produce one Kakugun in contrast to normal ghouls.
Yep.
When activating the Kakugun, Quinks have a grey sclera rather than black. So, slight difference.
Grey what?
Sclera.
Oh, like
Sclera.
the veins?
No, the white part of your eye.
Oh, okay.
Sclera, isn't it? Sclera.
I don't know.
I forget how you pronounce
I forget
it.
my
I did not do
biology.
biology.
I think it's sclera. I'm pretty sure.
So for normal ones, I thought it all went all red. It's only the iris that goes red.
The iris goes red, the sclera goes black.
And
and
I
has
thought
like
it all
the
goes
veiny.
red.
No, not quite.
So Quinks have
Grey.
Red and grey.
red and grey. Gotcha.
And then they get one.
Yeah, anyone.
Hell.
Quinks only digest human food, and they do not crave human flesh.
All good so far?
Good.
Even so, devouring human flesh can still trigger responses from their RC cells and increasing their overall strengths.
Do they like it, or is it bad tasting? Like I imagine I wouldn't
It
enjoy
tastes
anything.
as good or bad as it would to a human.
So probably not great.
Probably not great.
Can you cook it?
Can you cook?
Yeah.
Yeah, like doesn't it? It might.
Oh, okay.
it
No,
might
I
ruin-
see what you mean. Sorry,
it might
I
ruin the
apologize.
effects. It might
I
kill the
judged too
cells.
fast. No, entirely fair. Entirely fair.
My understanding is yes, you can.
Great.
Um,
Barbecue.
So the thing that makes them different, so the Quinks, they are a creation of the CCG, and they are them creating basically an elite squad of almost ghouls to fight ghouls for them. And the way that they are made is that the kakuho, or the flesh sac that is installed into their body, is modified through a process similar to how they create Quinkeis. And it's basically putting this special steel that they've produced from bits of ghoul into the kakuho, and basically putting all sorts of artificial limiters into it, and putting like a frame locking thing in that decrease. There's 5 frames, and each of them decrease the potential output of the kakuho by 20%. And as that Quinks proves themselves, their superior officers may see fit to remove one of those frames, increasing their strength, but also making them a little bit less easier to control. Because they don't want to just go, hey, you're a new creation. You're a ghoul now.
Do they start to crave flesh when you start to take them out?
Maybe. Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes. They start to become more ghoul-like the closer they get. So the way that they get these, after I mentioned at the start that basically the way that the midpoint ends before the big time skip is Kaneki being taken in by the CCG before being brain wiped and turned into this other character. It's through studying him and studying how he's an artificial half ghoul. That's how they make this squad. And then his new persona of Hayase Sasaki is put in charge of this new squad.
So is this squad made from humans or ghouls?
Humans.
And by adding ghoul parts?
Yeah.
Okay.
Human volunteers that are offered a lot of money. If human volunteers from the CCG that are offered a lot of money if they go with this strange new procedure.
Yeah. Okay.
But to survive the procedure, they had to be young. Thus, why they are kind of adolescents that are being looked after by this.
We
older
love
guy.
a good reason
We
for everyone
love
to be teens or
Child
children.
soldier in a morally ambiguous organization
That's
hunting
it.
down
Hunting
fellow
down
minorities.
ghouls. Yep.
The gays.
Hunting
the
down
ghouls, sorry.
But yes, that's the world of Tokyo Ghoul.
Hell yeah.
Damn.
Suppressed groups of ghouls fighting for survival, both against each other and the terrifying human group that fights them. But it is also a tale of desperate soldiers desperately fighting against a far, far stronger foe to keep their families, friends, and whole species safe.
Very nice. I like the blood magic. This is a fun, interesting take on blood magic.
I know, right?
Because it's not strictly blood magic.
It's not.
It's not really magic in a sense. It's more biological.
It's like a
Yeah.
biological excuse at the end of the day, but
It is, yeah.
for essentially magic. But it is. I do like. We've talked a lot about systems like hard and soft magic systems and things like that. And this, I think that there's a discussion to be had in the future, possibly about powers and biological things like this and how they're framed. Like mutations, for example, in like My Hero Academia is very much just like whatever the fuck manages to stick. Whereas this seems like much more of like a hard biological power system.
Yeah, I get what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah.
As opposed to hard and soft magic, it's a hard and soft bio power.
Yeah, if that makes sense. Whereas
These
like,
are the rules, what powers can create within these rules,
Yes,
as
exactly.
opposed to, and this person couldn't create a toy gun.
exactly.
Yeah.
I like it. It's a bit of fun. I think we're expanding our horizons a little bit. It's fun.
I've enjoyed this first dip into anime. It's been good.
Yeah.
I'm also
yeah.
happy we're breaking into anime because goddamn, there's some horse shit in this
Oh, there's gonna be
fucking
some
show.
fun times ahead.
Yep. I have 3. I've decided it's going to be a small stint. I'm going to do this episode and then touch on a couple other anime. The other 2 I've watched, basically.
Excellent.
And then, I mean, we'll see what people respond to. We haven't actually done a Patreon talk at all yet, but thanks to our Patreons, again, as usual. Hi, patron, hi, lawkeeper, Luke Newcomb, you are the GOAT.
And our other lawkeepers.
Our other
Not thanks to
lawkeepers are
Luke
cool.
Newcomb, to our prestige lawkeeper Shadow and everyone else. Mike.
I was just saying that our high lawkeeper first, but okay.
He's
I was just saying
his
he's
special
special.
episode. Oh, of course, his episode request. Yes, sorry. I was just saying he's special.
Yeah, I was just saying that he's special, then I was going to say the prestige lawkeepers, but yeah.
Wow. Do we haven't shout out everyone this episode, have we?
No, that's what I just said.
Okay. Well, we have Jacob from Norway. We have Leon, Mike, Uranium Games, and that's everyone, right?
Did you say Leon?
I said Leon.
Yeah, cool. That's everyone. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Shadow.
I said Shadow, Prestige
Yeah.
Lawkeeper.
From the
Yeah.
top, Luke Nukem at our high law keeper status, Shadow as our prestige law keeper, and Jacob, Leon, Mike, and Uranian as our novice law keepers. Thank you so much. You keep the lights on and you keep us going.
Thank you, Guy.
Thank you for ghouling. Thank you for being a ghoul.
Yeah,
We love the
that's.
ghouls.
I love ghouling.
I love ghouling, but I was gonna
I
say
love my ghoul cave.
I might make it a Patreon episode, or maybe it'll be a real episode if it comes a long enough script. Because I nearly wanted to talk in this episode about the different organizations that you have in the world, so other than just the CCG, like different ghoul gangs and stuff that exist.
Ghoul gang.
Ghoul
The
gangs.
Ghoul gang.
Talk about a little bit more of that. That would probably have been another half-hour worth of content. That's why it's not in the episode. But maybe we'll record that and make it a Patreon special. Who knows?
Nice.
Yeah. So if you want more Tokyo Ghoul, you have to sign up for our Patreon.
The good gritty ghoul gangs.
Giddy Ghoul Gang.
I absolutely love. Yeah, I'm looking into some cool anime stuff as well. I was planning on soft introing you guys into some One Piece stuff, which might be a bit of fun. We'll see how that goes. Yeah.
I'm gonna die.
You'll be fine. I know you will enjoy it.
Fair.
I've already been like told about One Piece from my best friends.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I know you guys will enjoy it. But yes, as it stands, if you want to see anything more from us, we've got Patreon, obviously, which we just mentioned. We've got the Instagram and the LinkedIn. We've got those delicious shorts of little fun clips and things. And Matt's crossing his... Because he usually does this. I'm taking his job.
He doesn't know what to do.
Taking my job.
No, you're doing great. Keep it up, guy.
Matt needs to go to the toilet. I can soul read him. I can see what's going on.
I think I'm just falling asleep, I'll be honest.
That's also fair.
It's been a long day.
We have a long day of recording, but yes, we're very happy to do it for you. And Instagram, LinkedIn, and the best thing to do is to talk to your friends and watch it with them and say and show them it and have chats about it. Have your own law conversations.
Cuddle and watch it together.
Inflict knowledge upon people. They deserve it.
That they do.
And the number of stars you rate is the number of extra sacks you get.
The number of Kakuro sacks that you get is
If you want to be on the other side of it, though, the number of stars you rate us is how far up the
It's the level of
investigator tree you are.
Yeah.
What's the level?
Special
level
investigators,
5?
5 stars.
What's
1
level-
star. You're cringe junior investigator who's going to get put into one of those, that fucking meat
There are
suit.
5 ranks.
There
Is
you
there
go.
really? I fucking love
On
this shit.
point.
So if 1 star, you're a rank 2 investigator. 2 stars, you're a rank 1 investigator. 3 stars, you're a first class. 4 stars, you're an associate special class. 5 stars, you are a special class investigator. Congratulations.
And the number of stars you rate us is how far up the scale you are of ghoul. You're 5 stars, you're a +3 ghoul.
Triple S ghoul.
Plus
Triple
3
S.
ghoul. Yep, that's
You're-
it.
You use SSS.
+3 ghoul
Yeah.
like it's fucking Dungeons and Dragons. I equip my +3 ghoul and attack the dragon.
That's what they are when they equip. They're actually plus
Yeah,
weapons when they equip the ghoul weapons.
Thank you for listening, and don't let the ghouls get you in your sleep. And good night.
And when you wake up, keep the fucking eyes sharp. We don't want ghouls getting you while you're eating your morning brekkie.
And when you wake up, which one?
You're in the afternoon.
Oh, and when you wake up from your afternoon nap, remember it's school month.
School month.
And to think about the ghouls every now and then. You know,
Yeah.
they don't want to eat the flesh sometimes.
Yeah.
So have a good
Absolutely.
evening. Good
Oh
afternoon.
my god.
So the question is, what would your ghoul sona be? What type do you think would be?
Oh, that's a great question.
Yeah.
Oh, good question.
I want the monkey tail. The monkey tail's too
I think
funny.
I personally, I think Guy would have to be the Bikaku. I could see Matt either with an Ukaku or a Kokaku.
Which was
to
the
be
wings?
honest. That's the Okaku.
I want
I could
that.
see you.
Give
with
me the
that.
wings.
Yeah.
Give me wings. I've always imagined like angel wings. I
Yeah.
fucking love that aesthetic.
Yeah.
Like
I could say.
having wings, angel or bat wing. I
Yeah.
just like to glide. You know, I want to fly.
Yeah,
I want to glide.
Yeah, I get that.
I just want to jump off a building.
Yeah.
Hey, whoa. Hey.
And glide.
and glide. Sorry. What about you, Jude? What's Jude?
I
I can see you very like in a sword, man.
Yeah. There's one that I can use to
I don't
make
want
a
you to have
sword.
tentacles
I
out of
gotta
your
be
bed.
a-
Yes, the
I
sword
don't-
one
I
is
don't-
correct.
Also, the rinkakus are really terrifying because they rely so much on regeneration. You'll see them like go.
messy. It's
You'll see them
messy.
like
It's gross.
if one's like mid jump and you try to grab his leg to then fling him into the ground, he'll like just rip his leg and twist it at a shit angle to then hit you, and then his leg will just.
That's what I'm saying. It's messy. I
It's
don't
very
want that. I don't want that
messy.
blood.
Yeah.
Blood everywhere.
Anything
man.
that relies on regeneration is just gross.
When I'm a human-eating ghoul, I want my shit to not be messy. It's
Thank
very
you.
gross.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Guy gets me.
In my body horror anime, I want it to not be gross. Alright, fuck it, we're done.
Oh, fucking incredible.
Thank you for listening to Living by the Law. If you enjoyed our podcast, please leave a review, tell your friends, and if you're feeling extra generous, become an official lawkeeper by joining our Patreon today. Follow us on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook at Living by the Law. All links are in the description, and thank you in advance. We have been, and always will be, living by the law. Thank you for your company, and good night.